Hello, everybody, and welcome to the July 5th edition of the Saving Progress podcast. I, as always, am your host, Northernlion, here with my esteemed co-host, my brother from another mother, possibly the same father, though. We've never had any genetic testing done. Obviously, I'm talking about Michael A.L. Fox here.
Hey, everybody. Actually, the truth is I am Ryan's father. You might think that's crazy, but I think there's like 6 months difference between us. I'm a little older than you. Most people probably don't believe that, because you sound like your voice is, I don't know, a volcano.
Well, it's because I started smoking when I was 2.
And all that hard whiskey, man.
Yeah. Are you implying that you had sex with my mother like the day you came out of the womb and I was just like vastly prematurely born, or that you had sex with my mother while you were still in utero?
No, I had sex with my mother. You're my brother and my son.
You had sex with your own mother inside of the womb?
Mostly, yeah.
I mean, you gotta think that maybe you ejaculated a couple times.
I had a couple wet dreams, you know. Babies have wet dreams, too.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the July 5th edition. No, okay. How you doing, Mike Fox? I hear you have some administrative saving progress type news for us.
Couple things, you know. Some of them might seem like beating a dead horse, but I've been busy with a lot of stuff, so it's hard to sometimes work on a few of these administrative things. Main one being the forum, but I've decided the direction with the forum, because a lot of people keep asking, like, hey, you know, I'm excited to see you guys get a forum because YouTube comments are garbage and all that stuff, which is a very valid thing. I mean, I have the same opinion of it. So I think the intent, anyways, is to open up kind of like a plain Jane forum and then do an update, you know, because obviously we want Saving Progress to have a unique look, obviously mirror the website and whatever else. So, but that'll come later. It's kind of like, let's make everybody happy. Let's get together, have some good discussions, and then we can update that later. So that's going to save a lot of work and time delays anyways. So hopefully you guys are happy with that. If not, I'm sorry. I don't know what to
Direct
do.
all your complaints to Mike.
Yeah, do that. And hey, you know, maybe if you're actually a legit expert in terms of you know, CSS and PHP and all that good stuff, and you're familiar with some of the software we use, then maybe you can always lend a hand. But hey, you need to be highly qualified, so don't just say like, hey, yeah, I used to run a, what was that, like GeoCities and shit.
Fuck you, man.
But just saying.
That's how I got my start in the games industry.
What was that free forum software a while back? It was like
PHPBB?
No. Like it was all hosted and stuff right on the thingy.
Envision free?
Yes, Envision
okay.
free. You know. That's not going to cut it. Okay, we need some pros, but that's that. Let me pull up my little list I got here for other stuff. So that's kind of old news as well. For those of you wondering, it's a recurring question we've touched on a few times, but we've got pretty good news. I think our one friend Jay Smith on the internet. A few of you may be familiar with him now. He's like our real life friend and stuff. And we've known him for a while, and he's awesome. So he's going to be joining us hopefully next week on the podcast, and pretty much he's going to be a regular. Obviously, sometimes we have issues with time. Last week, you know, somebody was on vacation.
Yeah, I took kind of an impromptu vacation.
Which is okay, you know. So, but you know, just so you guys know, we'll let you know a little more in advance when that kind of stuff happens. But I don't think it should be happening too often. Without good reason anyways, so
probably I think we're going to be okay. We might have to miss a couple around the end of July because you and I are going to be traveling.
This is true, traveling then, and
the end of August as well for PAX probably.
PAX Prime, yeah. So, but hey, that's going to be a fun time. We're going to be able to bring back a lot of awesome knowledge. So it's an investment for you guys. We're doing that for you.
Yeah, we're going to this bitchin' gaming convention for you guys.
It sucks. It really sucks.
I hope you're grateful.
You know, there's going to be drunk nerds everywhere. I don't think I can handle it.
I hope so.
We're going to be the drunk nerds. You know how much havoc we're going to cause? People don't realize how reckless we can be.
Little known fact, the Havoc physics engine is actually named after the damage that we did to the Unreal Engine's booth at PAX 2007.
It's true. In Ragdoll Physics, they saw me push a guy off a cliff and then smash on the rocks. And
I was always wondering what that cliff was doing there in the middle of the expo, but then I saw you push that dude off, and I was like, oh, totally.
It was like a wooden, or not a wooden, like a fake rock thingy for Duke Nukem Forever. They put it up on the pedestal, man.
Yeah, you can never put the Duke up on the pedestal.
Never. What else do we got? Another slightly personal thing. I've mentioned it a couple times, but I have a sweet kicking ass PC that's pretty much ready to go. I just returned home with the last vital part, which is a gargantuan heat sink. I don't want the processor to heat up. So what that basically means for you guys is obviously a little more diversity in the stuff I do. Should be more timely because rendering things and editing is going to be probably 10 times faster. And I've just got a whole world of games just begging to be played, so that's kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, I think you're going to be happy with your investment. Like, as people might know, I bought my new computer, I guess, like 4 months ago, and that is a decision that has paid dividends quite clearly immediately after purchasing it, basically. It just makes like the whole rendering process and recording process 10 times easier, and the video comes out better. You can produce more. Everyone's happy.
Yep, no, it's good. I mean, I'm upgrading from an iMac, which great computer. Don't get me wrong. This guy's 3 years old. He's still kicking some butt. I've got Windows boot camped, but it's in between a desktop and a laptop essentially because it's all in the screen. So not ideal for this sort of production environment. So there's that, and then one last kind of bigger thing that I'm kind of excited. It sort of just happened. It was one of those things.
Are you pregnant?
Well, that's old news, man. I thought people knew. I've been putting up a lot of pictures. Every day I put up a picture on my Facebook of my belly.
That's true, he does.
Side note, I hate to get like that already, but it's crazy now. I've been on Facebook for it's like 6 years or something, and everybody I know is having babies and getting married. It's kind of, I don't know how to feel. If I should feel happy that I'm still a bachelor, or mad that there's not a little Foxman Jr. running around biting people's ankles. You know what I'm saying?
I know what my opinion about you not having kids is, but...
Dude, I get told time and time again that I'm great with kids and I'd be a great father. So, despite my online personality and mentality, I'm different, Even, I'm different when I'm not around you guys in real life, too.
That's true, yeah.
I think I have, a little multiplicity in me.
So that's like the third multiplicity reference.
I was just going to say that's at least the second, maybe third. It's great. It's a great film. Okay, last thing, though, is we got a new series in the works called Ongoing Series. This will be going on for pretty much as long as Saving Progress is, I guess. It's called SPA for short, or Saving Progress Arena. And that's essentially a venue for myself, obviously you, Ryan, and our new friend Josh, and anybody else who's eventually maybe joining our team in the long run. I don't know. But a place for us to kind of play competitive games together, either against each other or with each other against other people. I think it's going to be fun, just like a great way to kind of vent a bit and stuff, because I like playing games by myself, and even co-let's plays are good sometimes, but other times I just want to hand your ass to you in a little package. So that's what that is. And Josh and I recorded a couple episodes already that are going to be going up. Actually, probably the same day as this podcast is going up, so you can always check my channel. And we're going to be putting that stuff on the Saving Progress channel as well, just to kind of have it all in one central spot. So we'll have links for all of that good stuff. And we're kind of doing a special thing with the SPA, is that the loser has to do kind of like a handicap or a humiliation of some sort for the next episode. So people can watch an episode and they'll be like, oh yeah, since Michael lost because he sucks, he has to shotgun a beer up his asshole.
Wow.
Before he plays the next episode. So it's kind of like a handicap, or
Yeah, kind of.
It's gonna feel good, but
I think if you shotgunned a beer up your asshole, you would have like the wettest fart. Like the
worst
later.
Beer shits you can imagine, like literal beer shits. But I've talked to guys before. Apparently, if you got one beer left and you're not drunk at all, shotgun it up your ass and you're going to be wasted, because it basically goes right to your bloodstream. So,
all right. Yeah, the other cool thing about like the Saving Progress stuff is that like those videos are different than like the co-collaborations that we've done so far, because in those videos We've talked about like how we feel about the game as a whole, because usually it's something that's just come out. But this is, stuff that maybe is a little bit older. It might be a mix of new and old stuff, but it could be stuff that's older. So like public opinion and perception, I think, has already been formed. So we the pressure is off of us to be like, is this worth spending your money on? Instead, we can just focus on like, turn the recorder on and then just kind of go at each other and have fun with it.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And two, obviously we'll more than welcome suggestions from people as to what games we should play in future arena battles or episodes, whatever we want to call them as well. That's more than welcome. Yeah, they can be suggestions for newer games coming out maybe that might look good, that might have fun multiplayer, or even older games. Obviously, limit yourselves currently to, don't say Mario Kart, because we have to be in the same room for certain games. So it has to have online capabilities. That's pretty much the main mandatory criteria at this point. So keep that in mind. But other than that, the sky's pretty much the limit. And I don't know, it should be fun, just a great, less kind of structured and formal thing. Not saying that all of our stuff is really super
like
great,
like
but
turning our nose up at the rest of the industry or something.
Yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much it for news on my side. I think that
I don't have anything.
So that's the general administrative stuff for this week, and stay tuned for spa episodes. Jay Smith coming up. You should see some videos of his already, and the forum should be coming soon. You can pay attention to our Twitter for stuff like that if you don't want to wait till next week to hear about some of this stuff. Twitter is always a great place where we can tell you guys about stuff. So
absolutely. And our Twitter accounts will be in the video description if for some reason you couldn't figure them out for yourself.
Of course. Twitter and Facebook. Yeah.
Right. So let's get into the meat of this. It's been like 2 weeks since I last talked to you, at least in verbal form. What have you been playing, video game wise?
Still playing Mafia. I'm still kicking it with the old Mafia Let's Play. Getting into the meat of it, I think people are starting to realize how awesome of a game it still is. It's very, very story oriented. It's a really well put together kind of game, story, music, all those different aspects and stuff like that. And it's starting to get juicy. I think, obviously, my commentary is great, and
naturally.
Yeah, I mean, not to be modest or anything, but no, I mean the commentary is good. But even you could watch the game without any commentary, and it's still pretty interesting the way the story is progresses. So that's cool. Obviously, I'm playing that to do the Let's Play, and I'm playing a game that you've been playing as well, Kerbal Space Program.
I've never heard of it.
It's what do you call it? Like hack and slash sort of game.
Yeah. It's like a hack and slash rhythm game.
Yeah, it's like a mix between Afro Samurai and DJ Hero.
Yeah, you play as Charles Nelson Riley, the former match game stalwart.
Wait,
it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't get it.
No, I was thinking of Madden.
Madden?
Yeah.
Madden? I don't know what to say.
That tangent went a little weird. But, there's people out there, we're both doing Kerbal Space Program series right now. But some people out there still probably don't know what it's about. So let's just go over the quick rundown of Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah, you want to do the honors?
I guess so. I mean, Kerbal Space Program is a rocket ship designing, building, and launching simulator. I hesitate to say simulator, but it's got elements of that. But it's more like a building sandbox, where your goal is to build this rocket that will eventually leave this planet, and you can choose from a variety of goals. Like you could land on the moon, or you can just try to get your rocket to orbit around the planet, or land it on the face of the sun or something. I'm still well away from accomplishing any of those objectives, but you are a little bit closer.
I've got some exciting stuff. I put up the one video of me I flukingly, well, not so much flukingly, but it's not ideal, landed on the first moon that rotates around the planet called Kerbin. So I'm learning a lot, though. Even in the past day, I've learned a lot of the controls that make it a lot easier. I don't know. It's the kind of game that's up my alley. I've always liked space and science and stuff like that, and and that whole kind of problem solving thing has been something that interests me. So kind of nerdy, I guess, but it's good. I'm gonna keep playing a bit more. Got some interesting goals, some interesting techniques that I can maybe use to impress people.
Yeah, you got the old come hither motion.
Come hither. That works, man. 90% of the time. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and it's a pretty solid game, even though it's in pretty early alpha still, I guess.
Yeah. I found myself thinking the same thing. Like the other day, I was just brainstorming, in the bathroom, and I was like, how are they going to make, like, what are they going to do for Kerbal Space Program to make it the final version? I don't know. Graphically, it could use a little polish, I guess. Like, things look a little bit work in progress, and I guess they can add more parts and stuff like that. But the game, like, the core of the game seems like it's definitely in there.
Yeah, well, they do have a wiki on their website with features that they're obviously working on that are somewhat implemented and that have yet to be implemented. They're gonna actually incorporate missions and stuff.
I think that's a smart idea.
Yep, and a training kind of program, so you can actually train the Kerbal astronauts.
Okay.
Instead of them just being kind of like sitting there freaking out and crapping their pants, they're actually gonna somehow make it easier or harder for you to do this. And as well, they're gonna have a kind of a progressive system, I think, if I recall correctly, for the actual components, where you can upgrade them, make them better, more efficient, and stuff like
that's
that.
cool.
So there's going to be a little element of progression in the game, which is I welcome that. I think that's going to be cool. It's nice that they've kind of just left everything out there for now for people to try, and it's been great for just marketing the game, people making lots of videos about it, and even you can develop, they have the developer kit, so you can download that and make your own plugins and stuff, because you'll see a lot of mods already on YouTube of people making these career. I saw a video of some guy made like an anti-SOPA kind of satellite thingy. He just launched it and like put it into orbit. It was pretty cool. So
yeah, it is cool.
I'm excited for the support it has already, and should make for a decent game. It's only $15 right now too. That price is going to continue to go up the further and further they get into development. So just get it now, and you get updates every time they push a new version of the game. It's fun. It's different. It's one of the few simulators I've really ever enjoyed quite a bit.
Honestly, like, even if you didn't get access to future builds of the game, like, if, let's say they just stopped development on it tomorrow, $15 is well worth it for the amount of time you're going to get just fucking around.
Yeah.
You could easily get, like, 6 to 10 hours, I would say, depending on your, I guess, preference for this kind of game, just from messing around building crazy sorts of rockets. So I think $15 is totally reasonable.
And if you're really hesitant, they have, like, the current version is 0.15.2, but they have a free demo version, which doesn't get updated anymore, which is 0.13.3, I believe. So there's not as many components in that. They don't have like the tracking station to track all of the things you've launched into space, and they don't have the space planes hangar and stuff, but it's free. And it's actually, I'd advise you maybe downloading that first, because this game is a little beefier. You want a decent computer playing it. I don't think you'd want to play it on most laptops anyways.
Yeah.
So you might want to just download the demo first to make sure if your machine can handle it, if you're kind of hesitant, and then, hey, if it works, go send your $15 in and get the updated version, because there is quite a bit more content in that, and again, it's getting updated, so well worth it. So that's all I've got to say about Kerbal Space Program.
It's a good game. Pretty fun.
Expect to see a lot of explosions and landings in between the two of us. Anyways,
mostly landings on your side and explosions on my side, I think.
Some people are saying, like, dude, you're really good at this game, but can you crash more? And I'm like, what? Like, come on. But I'm gonna be experimenting with some crazy stuff too, so I'm sure that I'll have some upsets.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way you gotta go. You gotta test stuff. You gotta make a few mistakes. Break some eggs.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs.
I break a lot of eggs. I make a dozen egg omelet when I eat omelets.
Jesus.
Yep.
How's your cholesterol?
Through the roof.
Awesome.
Doctor says I've got 6 months. Okay, so that's that. Another game. This is a game I've been playing not off and on for like the past 10 years or whatever. But Worms 2 Armageddon.
Right.
My favorite version of Worms, and particularly why I'm playing it is that's actually the first kind of impromptu episode of Saving Progress Arena between Josh and I. So that's the episode that should be up by the time you guys hear our sweet voices on this podcast. That's a great game. I don't know how many people are familiar with it. To me, it's like a classic. It's kind of like a what do you actually call that kind of game?
Like a multiplayer arena type.
Yeah, it's
game,
like I don't want to say it's like Super Smash Bros. Because it's not like that really at all.
Right.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, to me, it generates a similar sensation feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just like
mostly in the tip of your penis.
tip of my. That's the most sensitive place, man.
Mm-hmm. That's
but
what
no,
I hear.
I have fond memories back playing the game with my brothers and stuff. Sharing one controller, you have to pass it back and forth between the 4 people. Nothing like germs.
Well, germs and worms. A typical Sunday morning in the Fox house.
How SARS came about. It started in the Fox den.
That's true. You really call it the Fox den, do you?
I call my Wi-Fi the Fox den.
All right.
And my dad calls his Wi-Fi the Fox den, and my brothers call theirs. And that's like all independent, which is the really weird thing.
That's great.
Well, because my grandma, they used to have a sweet house, and there's like an awesome warm basement, and that was called the Fox Den. So I think we all stole the name from that. Anyways.
And have been using it for unrelated apparatuses ever since.
It's clever. Come on, man.
Yeah, maybe it was like 45 years ago.
Who are you? So Worms, that's a good game. It's on Xbox Live. They've got a couple versions, but I think Worms 2 Armageddon's the best. They got the best weapons. Holy hand grenade, baby.
Yeah, I played a lot of that with you back when we were in university, and I think it's a good game.
Yeah, well, Josh and I are gonna rope you into playing it, even if we.
You're gonna ninja rope me.
Oh, but I'm gonna jetpack you, and then I'm gonna take a baseball bat to your head.
The ninja rope is an item in Worms 2 Armageddon.
Yes, it is. For those who don't know, it's actually tricky to use and pretty difficult.
Not really. I'm pretty much a master.
Man, okay. Do you remember when you were first trying to use that? It was just I couldn't bear it to watch. Even now, you're still pretty bad.
Well, this is the kind of trash talk that leads to a good Saving Progress Arena episode.
Well, that's the thing. First of all, yeah, you guys will see in the episode, but there's definitely going to be redemption, some revenge seeked in Worms, but Josh and I want you to get in on this as well, so we'll have to, do that, obviously. Whether we play on PC or on the 360 version, doesn't really matter, but we'll play some more, so that's good. Playing a little more Blur. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that on the podcast.
I don't think so.
Blur is like I have a previous kind of silly video of it, but it's a racing game that's sort of a mix between Project Gotham Racing and Mario Kart, I guess. You have weapons you can launch, but it looks more arcadey aesthetically, kind of like I guess a Burnout game, and developed by Bizarre Creations.
Right, yeah.
I think it's their last game. That I don't know if they've made anything since, but
no, the studio got disbanded.
Yeah,
last year.
That's yeah.
The last game they made, I think, was it was a James Bond game.
Oh, was it?
It was like James Bond 007 Bloodstone or something.
Bloodstone.
So they made like 7 racing games, and then James Bond game, and then the studio went out of business.
Well, that kind of what you get.
Yeah, I love Bizarre Creations. Like Project Gotham Racing 2 is one of my favorite original Xbox games, but that's a weird design choice.
I don't see how you come to the conclusion like, oh yeah, we've been making some pretty sweet racing games. Let's make a James Bond game. It's not even. I guess maybe
original... like they were just handed it by the publisher or something, but I don't know. Still,
probably. But either way, they're gone. But this game you can get it for $20. So if you kind of like that Mario Kart-esque. But it's really fast paced and interesting. For $20, it's not a bad deal. But
is that like $20 in a store or $20 on the digital download service?
In a store.
Okay.
Like I had it shipped to me for like $19 and some odd cents. So not bad. But you might not actually be able to find it in many stores. I don't think it's a pretty popular game. But then again, what do I know? I live in North Battleford, where we don't actually have PC game DVDs for purchase. Which is just like crazy. I don't get that shit. And then of course I'm looking forward to Spelunky.
Right, yeah. Spelunky came out today.
It did.
And on the Xbox Live Arcade, been out on the PC for like 3 years now, but
this is 2008 was the original, and this is pretty much, it's not a port. They're saying like they built the game up again pretty much from scratch. Like it looks a lot better, has a lot more elements to it. It
looks a lot better.
Yeah, like it's pretty much a completely new game, I guess. So it's I don't know, 1,200 Microsoft points. So that's what, $15?
Yeah.
I'm downloading. I started downloading it as soon as I got home from work. So I'm gonna be at least playing that. You know, maybe I'll do some videos of it. I don't know. I know you're thinking about maybe doing some videos.
Also
possibly.
true, yeah.
We could compete, you know. We'll have like a dual competition. Kerbal Space Program and Spelunky.
It might be like it might be one game that I could beat you at, because Kerbal Space Program, I think I'm already too far behind.
Well, that's what I said to somebody. They're like, dude, teach Northern how to play this game. I was like, I don't want to do that because it's the one thing I'm maybe better than him at. Everything else in life, you're superior. So this is my one thing. But yeah, I have no doubt that you'll probably, I mean, You're very good at platformers and type. Obviously, Super Meat Boy, you're pro at that. Binding of Isaac and all
I wish more of my commentators thought like you did.
Well, I do read their comments, and some of them say like, "Oh my God, he called that item a completely different thing than it is." And you know, I kind of, I don't know how to say that. Like, give the guy a break.
Yeah. Okay? No, it's cool. I understand that most people, when they're like talking stream of consciousness while doing something else at exactly the same time, never make errors in speech or in the actions that they take. So I appreciate the understanding that they have for the incredibly minor mistakes that I make, and I'll do my best not to make it happen again. Oh God, please stop hating me.
No, that's true. That's one thing. It's a lot easier to, and this goes for anything in life pretty much. It's a lot easier to say it than to do it. And doing Let's Plays where you have to talk about the game and be coherent and just collected, it's difficult. You're multitasking, right? You got to focus on the game, which some games can be goddamn hard. They require all your brain power. I mean, like your Dark Souls stuff like that. That's not easy, and so
it was pretty easy.
But, no, so that's kind of one of the things too. I've somewhat struggled with Kerbal Space Program. Is I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh shit, okay, I gotta adjust my thrust. Okay, oh wait, and by the time I start talking about something, and then I'll realize I should have decoupled like 20 rocket engines by that point. You know.
Oh man, the secret that you're missing is just hit the shift key, crank that thrust up to full, hit the space bar, and just let it go.
I mean, that's what I do to launch, but
there's the stage after launching.
Gotcha.
Woo!
It's gonna be fun. I'm people keep watching my videos, but I'm more excited for your videos half the time. It's great, good stuff. So yeah, Spelunky, that'll be interesting. And the last game, kind of old news for a lot of people. I'm one of those guys. I'm still like discovering music from the 1970s. Uncharted. I bought Uncharted 1 and 2 a while ago. I found a double pack, obviously because I got a PS3, so I want to play the good games that are exclusive to the console. So I'm probably not going to do any videos of any sorts around Uncharted. Maybe random one-offs or something if I find something worthy. But this is more or less just me to like find a good game that other people say is, a reason to buy the PS3 alone is for Uncharted. So let's see if they're right. If they're wrong, then I don't know. And they're wrong.
Yeah, I don't have any experience with Uncharted, but I think if you're looking for like games that seem symbolic of the PlayStation 3, then Uncharted is probably like your number one franchise.
Yeah, it's up there, and I just want to kind of play it and get a little more familiar with Naughty Dog before The Last of Us comes out, because that's that's another game we talked about a little while ago that I'm excited about. It looked pretty good anyway, so I want to get used to them. And that's it for me. Yeah, I think that's it.
Cool stuff. Well, I've been playing a fair amount since I got back from vacation because I'm starting to get busy again, and we've actually seen some pretty solid releases over the past week, which is a little bit, I guess, unusual so far because the year, I don't know, by and large has been fairly bad, at least in my estimation. But anyway, enough of that griping. Let's just get down to what I've been playing. The first thing I did when I got back was I played through episode 2 of The Walking Dead graphical adventure game, I guess you could say. That just came out, I believe, like a week and a half ago. Really big fan of episode 1. I'm not sure if I ever talked about it on the podcast, but when I released the video on my channel, I was glowing praise in my Let's Look At. And episode 2 does not disappoint either. It is truly, it might actually be my favorite game of the year so far, which is weird to say. I've really enjoyed Fez, really enjoyed Trials Evolution, but I think Walking Dead so far has really impressed me with the maturity of the storytelling and kind of the very difficult decisions that it forces you to make that actually have a relevant impact on the way that the narrative progresses. But it's not really a game in the strictest sense. I mean, you're moving around and you're solving puzzles, but the puzzles are really easy. I'm terrible at puzzles, as most people know, but I was never stuck in the game for more than 2 minutes at a time. But yeah, despite that, I think the writing and the storytelling is just fantastic there, and I would definitely, we're 2 episodes deep now. There might be delays on them, there were delays on episode 2, maybe there's going to be delays on 3, 4, and 5, but I think it's worth the wait. I think it's worth getting yourself involved in this series, and, at $25 on Steam for the whole package, I think it's pretty easy to recommend.
Good, yeah. Well, we did briefly, I think, talk about the first one in a previous podcast, and I said I want to get it just because I want to see how it compares to the show. So I guess I really need to get on that gravy train.
Right, and it doesn't require a huge time investment. Each episode, the second episode only took me maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours, and the first episode was maybe 2 to 2.5. But I was still getting used to the controls, and they do a little bit of a, every first episode of something always has an origin story, so they tend to be a little bit more meandering.
Right.
Yeah, but definitely check it out. Like I said, it's $25 on Steam for all 5 episodes. I was playing it on my computer with an Xbox controller, but you can also get it on XBLA for $5 an episode. I think you can buy them piecemeal, and probably the same thing on PSN. I know for sure it's on PSN. I just assume you can buy it $5 an episode there, in case you don't want to plunk down $25 for the whole series right now.
Cool beans.
Yeah, Walking Dead 2. Impressed. I was pretty sure after Jurassic Park that Walking Dead was going to be terrible, but it actually is really taking me by surprise. Like I said, it might be my favorite. I guess it's technically more than one game, but it might be my favorite gaming experience of the year so far. And beyond The Walking Dead, what else have I played? Tribes Ascend finally got distribution on Steam. That's a game that's been out for a while on Hi-Rez Studios' own game distribution platform, but I finally got into that now that it's on Steam. You familiar with Tribes Ascend, or the Tribes series of games?
Other than what you've mentioned before, no. I am not. I'm a clean slate, so...
All right, well... Tribes is pretty different than your standard multiplayer competitive shooter. First off, it's free to play, which I should point out, but it has a microtransaction model that I don't necessarily usually like. It has a bunch of different classes and a bunch of different weapons, but the weapons are hidden behind paywalls. You can buy them with in-game currency or from basically direct money transfers. But the gameplay is good enough that I think it makes up for it. So the difference between Tribes Ascend and a normal first-person shooter is that in Tribes Ascend, there's basically 2 ways of getting around. The one way is with your jetpack, so kind of if you saw in Orion Dino Beatdown, you can jetpack around. But also by hitting the spacebar and holding the spacebar, your boots become totally frictionless. So if you're standing on a slope, a downward slope, and you hold the spacebar, you'll just start gathering a ton of speed as you move downwards. So the whole point of the game is to basically try to move as fast as you possibly can by altering how much you ski, which is the frictionless thing, and how much you jetpack in order to kind of get yourself to ridiculous speeds. There's a speedometer that can get over 200 kilometers an hour. And by doing that, you become basically this torpedo. So you can just jump in 200 kilometers an hour, take the enemy flag, and then immediately bolt back to your base. So it's much faster paced than, a Call of Duty or a Counter-Strike or anything like that. Obviously not knocking those games, but totally different. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it so far. The free stuff is a little bit limited. You gain in-game currency from playing pretty quickly, but you're not going to have all the classes unlocked for a long time unless you actually plop down some real money. But the gameplay's good enough that I don't really care. So Tribes Ascend, I think it's a thumbs up for me. I'm like 6 months late to the party, but hey.
Oh well, that's good. Maybe I'll go give it a DL.
Yeah, and there should be... Yeah, we can play that together for sure. That could be a good saving progress arena candidate.
Well, that's what I was just kind of going to get to, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, though. What else was I going to say? I totally forgot, but... Oh, there will be a video on that probably coming up at some point. I'm hesitant to do a video of it because it's been out for so long, but I probably will just to put my thoughts down on video.
Your thoughts are timeless, man.
That's true. If I put them up on YouTube, they'll be there, for the neuromancers walking the plains of the earth in 25,000 years. There's been a lot of free-to-play games, actually, that have come out on Steam lately. Dungeon Fighter Online came out. I played like an hour of this just out of curiosity. This was a game that was like super popular when I lived in Korea. Like I could turn on the TV and there was a channel that only played competitive esports. And I would say probably like 7 times out of 10 it was StarCraft. And then like 2 times out of 10 it was this like shitty Counter-Strike knockoff called Sudden Attack. And then 1 time out of 10 it was Dungeon Fighter Online. So I figured, hey, I'll get into it, give this a shot. It's an RPG, but it kind of has combat more along the lines of like a side-scrolling beat-em-up.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't really like it so far. In the first hour that I played, the game has been mind-numbingly easy. So I kind of did like a passive-aggressive tweet that is like, am I just really good or is Dungeon Fighter Online super easy? And apparently the game does get super hard as you move along, but I don't really feel like I'm going to be investing that much time into it. But, it's got a vibrant online community consisting mostly of non-native English speakers. So,
hey man, don't be racist.
I'm not being racist. I'm just saying a little bit of the social aspect is lost on me because, my Korean is pretty terrible. But yeah, it's free. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, might as well give it a shot. As far as I've seen, like the combat is all about just stringing together combos. It's not like beat it. You don't want to just beat enemies. You want to like beat them with fluid combinations, kind of like a Devil May Cry almost, by like utilizing your different abilities and mixing them up to juggle enemies and stuff like that, killing multiple enemies at the same time. And then this will give you a higher score when you finish. But it has like a huge element of loot in it, like Diablo. Not really for me. Seems competent enough, but it is just like so far off of the normal style of stuff that I play that I probably won't be spending any more time with that. What else have I been playing? I got Spelunky today on Xbox Live Arcade, so I picked that up basically as soon as I could, and I have to admit that I haven't really played much of the PC version of Spelunky, definitely less than an hour in my entire life, but, I guess we should kind of explain what the heck is up with Spelunky, because hopefully people don't have, like, the wrong idea about that game.
What are your immediate impressions after playing for however long you had today?
So, I played for probably, like, 2 hours today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the game is like super addictive, and it's got a lot of that Super Meat Boy, like, just one more life. But what Spelunky is it's like a 2D vertical scrolling roguelike. So if you think of The Binding of Isaac as a roguelike, where you're basically going through like room, then you go down to the next floor and you're trying to get to the end of this dungeon while collecting items along the way. Spelunky is that, but instead of going like left to right from a top-down perspective, you're a spelunker in a cave who is going like vertically, so from top to bottom. And basically everything is out to kill you. You start with 4 hearts. Every time you get hit, you lose a heart and you will find yourself dying. Like there's things that kill you instantly too. I've had lives that have lasted less than like 10 seconds. My longest life probably, in total was maybe like 6 or 7 minutes. So, the game is really punishing. Like literally everything is out to kill you. Fall damage will kill you. You come across a whole bunch of enemies hiding in treasure chests and pots and stuff like that. So you really have to be... I'm not going to say there's a learning curve, because it is pretty easy to pick up and play, and the tutorial is only like 5 minutes long. But the learning curve for gameplay mechanics is quick, but the learning curve for actually being able to progress and make like meaningful progress is pretty high. So this is a game that I think is going to be challenging for a lot of people, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, because it's like Super Meat Boy. When you die, you don't feel like it's the game's fault, and it's so easy to just like get back into the game and continue playing. I should mention, of course, it has permadeath. So like if you get to the 6th floor, but you die on the 6th floor, then you start on the 1st floor again. There's exceptions because there are shortcuts that you can unlock as you progress in the game. But anyway, so it's a roguelike. I'm having a lot of fun with it so far. It's incredibly punishing, and I will definitely be doing at least one video for it. It might become like another Northernlion Plays type series. The same thing I've done with like Trials Evolution and DayZ, which is not dead, by the way, so stop asking in the comments. I just need to update my
More
game.
DayZ! Come on, man.
I'm glad people like it. It updates so much that sometimes it's a pain in the ass to continually keep on top of it. Plus, they took out the fact that you start with a gun, so now I have to somehow just make my way with like a hatchet and bandages or something. Anyway, yeah, Spelunky's cool. I'm not sure. A bunch of people have brought up that considering there's a free version on the PC, $15 might be kind of cost prohibitive for the Xbox version. But as you have mentioned, it is like a huge graphical upgrade. It has local multiplayer, but sadly no online multiplayer, which I think is a big mistake.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. But apparently the multiplayer is great. I probably will never get a chance to play it. But yeah, but I think for anyone who is a fan of like The Binding of Isaac, has some extra cash to throw around, you are going to find yourself having a lot of fun with Spelunky on the Xbox 360. If you've never played it before, this is definitely the definitive version to get.
Awesome. No, that's cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to at least playing it, and yeah, maybe I'll make a few videos on my own just to show people my absolute frustration. It looks like it's gonna be one of those games that unleashes the inner fox. Like, I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah, you just drag that game into the fox den and have your way with it.
I will. We'll get cuddled up and then I'll just ravage it.
I've been there.
Yeah.
So I played 2 more games. One of them is one we actually made fun of.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I actually talked to my brother about this game.
No, I haven't played Spec Ops.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
I was talking about Resonance.
Right. Sorry, Resonance. Yeah, we did make fun of that one.
Right.
Too.
So a few weeks ago, yeah, we were talking about like new releases, and we're like, Resonance. And then we read the description, we're like, I don't understand anything about this game. It could be anything. Could be a platformer, could be a point-and-click adventure game. Anyway, luckily the guys at Wadget Eye Games who developed the game didn't listen to that, I guess. So they didn't just laugh in my face when I submitted a review request. So I got the game. It's indeed a point-and-click adventure game. It's from the same guys who made like Gemini Rue and like the Blackwell franchise of point-and-click adventure games. A lot of people will be familiar with those because I think they've been included in a lot of like pay what you want indie bundles. But Resonance is pretty fucking cool. I normally don't like point-and-click adventure games, which, I mean, sounds crazy considering I just talked about how much I love The Walking Dead, but that's not really point-and-click. But anyway, I'm digressing here. And it's got kind of this cool like scientific concept where the main character has been like working on this landmark physics discovery, but then his boss calls him one night and is like, we've got to destroy it. It's got too much potential to be used as a weapon. And then it sort of starts like a little bit, it's hard to explain, but this is at the very start. These are not spoilers, so nobody has to worry about it. The game kind of starts with an opening cinematic that is just like a news briefing of like all these cities on Earth, across the Earth, like being ravaged by this weapon and explosions that nobody knows where they're coming from. And then we kind of like piece together the mystery ourselves when the story actually starts like 60 hours earlier. So kind of the hook in this game is that there's actually 4 main characters, and you play as them all at the same time of the day, if that makes any sense. Like you'll play as the first character at like 7 in the morning his time, and then you'll play as the second character at like 7:10 that morning her time, and so on and so forth across all 4 characters. And, as you solve these rooms and solve these puzzles with the players, the stories from each of them, which initially seem fairly unconnected, all come together to make a very intriguing kind of narrative that is sucked me in.
It's like Crash, the video game? Or
yeah, like it's like Crash, or even a better comparison might be like Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction's, yeah, that's good. That's
because
actually,
like there's like time travel as well, like they're not actually time traveling, but sometimes like
actually that's a pretty highly regarded movie by film industry people, surprisingly. Obviously just Pulp Fiction's a great,
fantastic
entertaining, but the way the narrative is structured, kind of it goes back and forth and telling different stories from different characters' perspectives and stuff is wasn't so common back in the day, back in 1995 or
94 maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe it was 94. Either way, great films. That's a good way of putting it. Now I want to go play the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you like point-and-click adventure games, and I know you are, you're into like Curse of Monkey Island and stuff like that.
Oh dear, don't even get me started.
This doesn't have quite the same like snappy writing. Like it's got great writing, And a lot of it is actually genuinely funny. Like, one of the characters you play as is like this stereotypical, like, 70s cop who doesn't play by the rules. It's actually voiced by the narrator from Bastion as well, which is a weird aside.
Oh, he's got a nice voice.
He's got a beautiful voice. But, yeah, so, I mean, like, there is humor in it as well, but it's mostly, although there's a little bit of, like, tongue-in-cheek, it's mostly serious, and it works really well. It's $20 on their website. The Steam, it's a weird release right now, and I'm going to explain, after I explain this, what I think happened. So, Resonance is out now on the Wadjet Eye website, which is the publishers. That's WADJET Games, or you can just search, like, Resonance Game, I guess would work too. So you can buy it for $20 on their website. It's not available for sale on Steam yet, but if you buy it on their website, you will get a Steam code. If you put that Steam code into Steam, you can play it on Steam right now. It's just not available for purchase on Steam right now. What I think happened is, like, okay, here's my theory. The Resonance is coming out on Steam July 25th. Today is July 4th, and there's nothing on the coming soon list for Steam from July 4th until July 24th. So I'm thinking that that period right there is going to be the summer sale, which, so we might know that by the time this goes up, actually, and people are just like, duh. But I think Valve was like, hey, you're going to release your game during this time period. We're going to have to move you back like 2 weeks because you don't want your game to just be like totally overshadowed by this sale that comes out. Maybe I'm totally wrong with that, but that's what I think is going to happen. But anyway, Resonance, $20. It's kind of steep for a point-and-click adventure title, I guess, but it's pretty long. Like, I've got 2 or 3 hours sunk into it so far, and things are coming together, but it's not close to the end yet, I feel. And, you know, I kind of feel that most people who really enjoyed point-and-click adventure games played them as a kid, and that would put them at an age where they have $20 in disposable income, probably.
Yeah, no, like you said, that's probably something kind of up my alley. I grew up playing a lot of games, you know, Diablo and Curse of Monkey Island, just like... I enjoyed those games. They got me from an early age, so maybe we'll see. I might spend a little time playing it, or maybe not.
Yeah, you know, if you're skeptical, you can wait for the Steam release where it will probably be reviewed more widely. But as of right now, I think it's sitting at like an 80 on Metacritic or something, which is pretty solid.
Yep, that's very solid. So. And
the last game that I've been playing, weirdly enough, is another game from Hi-Rez Studios, those guys who just put out Tribes Ascend on Steam. And it's a third-person MOBA, so like Dota 2 or League of Legends, called Smite. So Smite is in closed beta right now, and the difference between it and a standard MOBA is that instead of playing it like a top-down isometric perspective, you play third-person action like over the shoulder, and instead of like clicking on enemies to do hits, you have like a crosshair that you actually have to aim. So in Dota or League of Legends, there are a few things that are called skill shots, which you actually have to manually aim, but most of the stuff is just like clicking on the enemy, and every hit will automatically hit them. But what's kind of cool about Smite is that every shot is a skill shot. So if you want to hit a creep, which is like an AI-controlled minion that gives you golden experience, you would have to actually actively aim it at yourself. Everything you have is a skill shot, like all of your abilities are skill shots. And it's got kind of a cool backdrop, because you play like as creatures from mythology from across the world, so basically gods. So you can play as like Zeus, you can play as Ra or Hera or Artemis, all sorts of gods from cultures whose religions I'm not familiar with as well, but you know, they all have unique abilities related to their design or related to their legend, I guess. And I played 4 games of it, I guess, so far, so that's like 2 hours. Each game seems to be about a half hour long, and I'm having a decent time with it so far. I don't think Dota 2 or League of Legends are in any danger of being like taken over on the MOBA circuit by this, but it seems like a nice kind of time waster. I thought Awesome Knots was okay. That came out earlier this year on Xbox Live Arcade. It was another MOBA-like. But that was like a little too casual for me. I think Dota's become a little too hardcore for me. And Smite is somewhere in the middle. So I can see myself spending a little bit of time with it, but probably not like the 500 hours I sunk into Dota.
Well, that's good. You got quite a few games going on there.
I totally forgot that I sent you a Smite beta code as well, so we might be able to play that in the future.
Yeah, there was something you sent me a code for, and I for whatever reason I couldn't remember what game it was. So yeah, that'll be interesting to check out. And
yeah, absolutely.
I'll probably kick your ass, but
I should mention there's videos of almost all the stuff that I talked about coming. Like Tribes Ascend video will come eventually. There won't be a Dungeon Fighter Online video because people are just going to yell at me for my opinion. There's a Resonance video that's going to be up probably by the time this podcast is up. There's a Smite video that's going to be up. at some point, and a Spelunky video, maybe more than one Spelunky video that will go up as well.
Awesome. So that's some good content coming out.
Yeah, a lot of content on the go right now.
That's good. So that's pretty much the games you've been playing. Nothing else.
I think that's it. I've been playing a little Scramble with friends.
That game sucks. Have you been getting worse recently, or have I actually managed to get a little better? Because some of the games I actually won against you.
I was on vacation, so
that's not an excuse.
I wasn't really focusing. Sometimes I played one game against a mutual friend of ours, Mike Beswick.
Oh, Beswick!
And I got like 30 points, and then just got distracted and was like, whatever, and resigned.
You're a scumbag. He's probably gonna beat you. Apparently, he's really good at it.
He's okay. We probably like 60-40.
Well, whatever. You and I are like 95-5.
What can I say? My brain is good with words.
Problem is, I always see the words like immediately after the time ends. I see like 10 words, and I'm just like, it's that moment. It's like, yeah, well, the jerk store called. They're all out of you. That's what I should have said. So, but I think I'm somewhat getting a bit better, and like, I've actually learned a few new words, which is kind of cool. So
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's I think that pretty much covers the games we've been playing.
Right, yeah. It's been a decent couple of weeks, I guess, for releases. I mean, we also saw the release of Quantum Conundrum. I don't think we talked about that.
We did.
Did we?
I'm pretty sure we at least mentioned that it was coming out.
All right, well, that's a good game as well. Like, I kind of released that video just before I left for a week. But it's basically like a smaller... No, you can't even really say smaller. It's like a more cartoony version of Portal. It's made by the same designer, like Kim Swift, who left Valve to form this company that made this game. Pretty solid. Apparently, it's like divided critical opinion, which makes absolutely no sense to me, because this game is funny. Puzzle design is good. I don't know what people are expecting. It still like is being well received, but not as maybe well received as people expected.
Maybe it's smart humor that people just don't get?
No, it's pretty. It's like all ages humor, but it's all ages humor that I think like adults can at least appreciate, even if they don't find it laugh out loud funny.
What, like Arrested Development? That's a joke.
I get it.
I
don't actually get it either. But anyway, yeah, Quantum Conundrum's cool, but we don't need to talk about that too much. That's well in the past at this point.
What else? Limbo came out for Mac and PC.
What?
It says July 3rd. I don't know what... Oh, sorry.
Is it 2011?
I was going to say, it's the special... What is it? Special edition.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that game's come out before, but maybe not. And then, yeah, it's the special edition. I hate all this shit. Who gives...
Yeah, I think it's coming out in, like... Is it a Steam release or is it a box release? Because I thought it was like a hard release, like physical copy.
Let me see.
It's a good time to talk about Limbo. Limbo's a pretty awesome game. If you haven't played it, you probably should.
No, it's a great game. I've played it. I love it. Just the aesthetic and all that kind of stuff. And didn't we mention there was one kind of bit of concept art that was released that looks like a sequel to Limbo? There's a bit of speculation about it, but
yeah, I think you might have brought that up on the last episode.
It's I don't know, got a little bit of color, but again, it's supposedly just concept art, and it's like a 3D kind of cool. I don't know. I'm sure if they do make a Limbo 2, it'll be decent. First game's awesome.
Yeah, they've taken their time with it. Like the original Limbo came out, I think it was like summer 2010 for... Where did that start? Was it originally PSN? I think it had PSN exclusivity for a while. Or maybe it was Xbox Live Arcade exclusivity.
I thought it was Xbox Live, but maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But, yeah, it's been like 2 years since that came out. I'm sure they got something cooking up. They're not just sitting on their money, like using it to light cigars or anything.
That's what I would do, to be honest.
Well, for like 6 months, but after that, you're going to smell really
get
bad.
lung cancer.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like one cigarette or cigar equal to 10 cigarettes or some crazy thing like that.
I don't know, man.
Who cares? I can afford the private health care. America can't anymore, suckers.
Burn on you. Happy 4th of July.
Gotcha.
One thing we should talk about before we talk about like news, new releases, and questions. Let's clear the air here. Mike Fox and I, particularly me, kind of made fun of Spec Ops: The Line a couple weeks ago on the podcast.
Yeah, I feel bad about that.
Kind of basically called out. I was like, this is going to be like a generic shooter with the gimmick that like there's sandstorms and stuff like that. Turns out, maybe it's not the best reviewed game of the year, but apparently it's been like really praised for its mature take on storytelling. So, we're redacting our previous comments. We're at least me, I'm pretty negative about a lot of games that are upcoming. Sometimes I'm going to get it wrong. It happens.
Yeah. I mean, I only really made fun of it for saying Spec Ops because you're going to confuse the old people. They're going to want to buy Black Ops and they're going to end up with Spec Ops.
True.
What is that? But no, I was actually on the phone with my brother the other day, and he plays a lot of games and stuff too, and we always end up talking about what we've been playing. And he's like, "Yeah, I've been playing Spec Ops. The story is fantastic." And I was like, "Oh shit." So I don't know. Maybe I might give that a look. I don't know. It's on PS3. It's on 360 PC. It's coming to PlayStation 3 Network.
Right. Yeah.
Or it already is on the network. It came out the other day, and maybe I'll just play that. We'll see. Maybe I won't. Just kind of like as I don't want to say suffering because I'm sure if it's good I'll enjoy it. But it's like, well, I've been proven wrong. You were proven wrong. So maybe we should give it some, what do you call that? Proper objectivity. Proper.
Yeah, I think that's what most people call it.
Anyway, so that's I kind of apologize for maybe taking light of it. I'm sure it is a decent game anyway. So,
but let me say that I'm very happy to be wrong in this situation. More good games is, more good games, really.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. It's like I think I've reached a point in my life where I'm okay with being proven wrong. If you've got a better way of doing something, or like, oh, dude, this band is way better than that band, whatever. Hey, if they're better, they're better. It's not like it really matters to me. So I'm happy if this game is actually better than we originally thought.
Yeah, exactly. If we're going to make a mistake, better have low expectations about a game going in and be pleasantly surprised than have high expectations going in and find out that it is garbage. Like the movie Prometheus.
Yeah, which is... I saw some guy on Reddit who... he got into, the premiere or whatever, and he's like, guys, this might actually open up an entirely new genre of film. This is like, what? He, watched it at some premiere in France or whatever. I tell you, I don't trust the Frenchmen. And
did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it yet because everybody else is like, well, it's actually meh. So I mean, I'm sure I'll see it at some point, maybe when it comes out on Netflix or whatever. But yeah. I'm not gonna drive to a movie theater for that right now.
It was my most anticipated movie in a long time. I thought it was going to be like a return. Ridley Scott's going to make Alien again. It's going to be like this super mature, really intelligent sci-fi movie. Instead, it's basically it's a slasher movie in space.
Suspense.
Almost everyone in the movie, there's a few exceptions, but almost everyone in the movie is so stupid and detestable that you actually want to see them die.
Even Charlize Theron?
She's a one-note character.
They should have had her character from Monster.
Yeah, absolutely. She should play truck-driving serial killer sent to the planet Prometheus.
To have sex with that Ricci girl.
Christina Ricci?
Yeah.
She's got a bigger
Casper,
forehead than me.
That's been a long time since Casper came out. I love that movie.
Yeah, well, I guess you're not shy about admitting that on camera.
I was 8 years old when it came out. My grandma took me to the theaters to see it.
I remember we watched that in second grade. Does that have Dan Aykroyd in it?
How did you watch that in second grade? You were 7 in second grade.
Yeah, we watched it, and then maybe it was third grade. I can't remember. Yeah. But there's a scene where someone calls someone a bitch at the end, and our teacher was like, "Oh fuck, what have we done?" And then she's like, "A bitch is a female dog," and all the kids were just like, "Okay, well, the insult doesn't really make sense, but we're young. It doesn't matter."
Do you remember in English class when we watched the film for 1984 and Miss Yon had to fast forward through all the parts to avoid us seeing penis?
No, that was Roman Polanski's version of Hamlet.
What?
Yeah, we read 1984 in grade 11, man. There were tits in that movie too, though.
Oh yeah, but I remember us at some point going through 1984. It's like, yeah, we couldn't see all the nudity, penis in it or something.
Yeah.
See a penis every morning. Come on.
Really?
No.
Who's the lucky guy?
Woo. His name's Hugo. Got really big arms too. Baby.
His name's George Glass.
What did you just say to me? I was actually trying to think of how we could get this podcast.
We're off the rails. There's no segueing now.
Oh, let's play some Ozzy Osbourne.
I'm not sure what that was.
I think that was a funk song or something. Oh,
I like that. Yeah, that's a Sanford and Son theme song.
Something like that.
So what are we going to talk about? We got to talk about news, new releases, and questions.
Yeah. No. Okay. So new releases. Obviously, well, I kind of jumped the gun on Limbo, which is obviously not a new release unless you. Well, Special Edition is a new release, I guess. So I don't actually know what's so special about it.
It's a special game, but special edition of a special game. If you're a special person or you got a special lady in your life, maybe get it for them.
Oh, we've got Bellator MMA Onslaught.
What the hell is that? Is it a mixed martial arts game?
Yeah, mixed martial arts. And basically, there's been a monopoly. Either THQ had the exclusive rights with Dana White of UFC. Most people think like UFC is like all of the MMA world, which is far from the truth because it's actually like the trashiest piece of shit. Dana White is a monopolistic homo. He's not a homo. He's a jerk. There's nothing wrong with being gay. I don't know why I just said that. I'm just really angry. He's an asshole. That's what I mean.
There you go.
Anyway, so he kind of was like, hey, THQ has exclusive rights to UFC. Any other game that wants to do MMA can't use UFC characters.
Right.
And like some people in the UFC were like, we want to give our likeness to this game because obviously it's more exposure for them and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, if you have an my goddamn mouth is not working today. You want to have an MMA game, you want it to be balanced and stuff, have different fighters. So some of you may be familiar with EA.
Never
MMA,
heard of them.
And that's kind of like from different different organizations and stuff like that. So there are actually a couple UFC fighters were like, well, fuck you, Dana White, and they actually. Because he said, oh, if you go give your likeness to that game, you void your contract with the UFC, which is just, that's scumbag. Like, he's just trying to control the entire MMA industry. So anyways, I don't know what I just saw this on Giant Bomb, Bellator MMA Onslaught.
Weird.
So, you can customize fighters and their fighting style. That's nothing new.
Is that like Xbox Live Arcade?
What is it? Xbox 360, Xbox Live Marketplace, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation Network.
Weird.
Our publisher is 345 Games, and the developer is Kung Fu Factory.
That sounds kind of familiar.
Does it?
Here, you talk about more new releases. I'm going to look up 345 Games.
Please do. Okay, what else do we got? Blacklight Retribution?
Yeah, that's a free-to-play game that just has come to Steam, but according to my friends on Twitter, they have said that that previously came out elsewhere. Wait, oh god, I just looked up you're gonna like this 345 Games.
Hit me.
Anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, apparently that's been out for a while, like standalone or on their own distribution platform, but it's now on Steam. Not sure if it's positive or negative, but there's just too many free-to-play games that came out this week for me to play all of them. Okay, 345 Games, the video gaming arm of Comedy Central and Spike TV.
Oh, no.
Oh, they made the Deadliest Warrior games.
Oh my god, my brothers actually, they bought that because they have to buy really dumb games sometimes. It's unbalanced. I think it's like the Spartan warrior you basically throw the spear and it just one hit KOs everybody.
Yeah, it seemed crazy because there was like a pirate in that game who had a gun. So you think you could just be like, bam, you're dead, but
problem is it's like a revolver, right? So you gotta like manually load it and clean it out with the little pipe thingy. So it's I don't know.
And they've made all those Comedy Central games like the Daily Show 2012.
shit pisses me off that you get these huge companies and they just start buying up all these gaming websites and they're into one sort of industry, and they're just like, shit, we got so much money, let's like start making video games. It's like they don't actually have any passion for it, and it pisses me off.
It's all salesmanship, man.
It is. Like, I don't know. I kind of want to because I've bought that UFC game a while ago. Well, there's two of them. I bought the first one.
Did you buy the what was that one that just came out, like UFC Unleashed or something that came out this year?
Not the most current one. No.
I heard that was pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it probably was okay. I think it was mostly... I don't know how much they changed in it, but the thing is, after that, the first one came out, EA MMA came out, which was really good, like way better. And just more diverse and better fighters and stuff in general. Like, again, people think UFC is like the be-all and end-all of MMA, but actually organizations like Strikeforce and whatnot have, Fyodor Emelianenko, dude is like pretty much hailed as the Muhammad Ali of the EA MMA, or the Michael Jordan.
Nah.
He has defeated, I think, 6 or 7 former UFC heavyweight guys. And Dana White's just like, oh shit, guy's a chump, Except he's beating all of your best fighters. Anyways.
I could beat him up.
He looks like my brother, the best, when he first introduced me to him. He looks like a Russian plumber. Like, he's bald, he's got a gut. He does not look like a typical kind of MMA guy at all.
No offense to any Russian plumbers who might be watching this right now.
It's a big portion of our demographic, so yeah.
I don't know, man. Okay, I won't know until YouTube Analytics gets a facelift. I can check out my Russian plumbers demographic.
But I've actually been meaning for a while. I've been like, I want to make some EA MMA videos just because it's awesome as shit watching people get knocked out in that game. It's a good game in general, so I might make like a Foxman, and I'll make a guy named Northernlion, and I'll just beat the living shit out of him. I'm gonna do it. I guess I gotta do it now.
Yeah, you've committed yourself.
It'll be another chapter in Foxman's life.
Guaranteed the AI will rise up and just like tear your head from your neck.
Dude, I'm really good, except the problem is some of the AI, they have these, their submission stats are so high, and it's like once they put you in a leg lock, you can't get out of that shit. It's unfair.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Remember that time I almost put you in a sleep? Well, I put you in a sleeper hold.
You tell the story all the time.
I love the story because
you jumped on my back out of nowhere. Like I wasn't in my fighting stance.
We were in Sean Brooks's parents' bedroom.
You just like jumped on me and then just like grabbed me around the neck. Sleep.
I'm just trying to prepare you for life, man. Because next time it won't be me. It'll be some guy on the street. He's gonna shank you in your kidney, and then he's just gonna break your neck in half.
Well, what am I supposed to do about that? Wear like a knife-proof vest everywhere?
You got to be able to be like on the spot,
I feel more optimistic about the world than you do.
Spidey sense, man. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll actually download Bellator just to make fun of it. I'm not sure if it'll actually be a good game like Spec Ops.
Yeah, we're gonna like temper all of our negative things about these games that we haven't played now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna do a coverall statement, which makes for like the least exciting kind of gaming journalism. Or whatever.
It could be good, could be bad. I have no strong opinions either way.
Play this game if you like this type of game, but don't play it. Anyway, so I just thought I'd point that out because it looks MMA games aren't that common.
I got a new release I want to talk about.
Don't do it.
Just came out on Steam today, but I covered it like a month and a half ago. It's Endless Space Strategy / Indie. You recall we talked about this a little bit?
Well, I'm not sure if we talked about it, but I was looking at it independently a while ago.
So this is it's a 4X game. So it's like Civilization. I always forget what the 4X's are. There's like exploration, expansion, extermination, and
dodge.
I think the last one might be like exploitation, like you're exploiting the resources of the anyway. So it's like a civilization set in space, but what kind of sets this apart is it has like this unbelievably like huge and expansive and really like a hard sci-fi tech tree. So like you're not researching stuff like in a Civilization. You might be like, oh, with my next tech unit, I want to research like music or something like that. This is like high-powered Higgs boson-powered teleconverters, and then it's like the semiconductors in these allow you to do this. So it's got like this really kind of like highfalutin aesthetic to it, or concept to it, I guess I should say. But I really like it. There's a lot of good exploration going on. It's obviously like a vast environment because it takes place in space. It's turn-based, so it's not real-time. The only weird thing about it is that the battles aren't like your standard Civilization battles. Instead, it kind of has like a rock paper scissors type dynamic where you'll have like two fleets shooting at each other, and you choose like which of these cards you want to play. So like attack, defend, engineering, tactics, strategy, stuff like that. And then your enemy plays a card, and some cards objectively beat other cards, some cards are draws, and some cards objectively lose to other cards. But overall, I think it's really cool. $30 is kind of a tall ask, but I guess that's the same price as Warlock, Master of the Arcane, which was another 4X game that came out earlier this year that I really liked. I think Endless Space is probably a little bit better than Warlock, Master of the Arcane, but they're both totally fine. And I really wanted to mention it because if I am indeed correct and the Steam sale starts, tomorrow or very soon, I kind of worry that this game is going to be shoved under the rug and like will never be heard from again.
Oh, well, that's fair. Evan, you were mentioning the kind of rock paper scissors type gameplay, which was actually something I mentioned a little while ago when I looked at that Fortune Wins Ancient Trader game.
Right? Yeah.
Trip game, the same, similar kind of. It's kind of interesting, I suppose, for a turn-based. It's an interesting take, but
you're gonna want to sink a lot of time into this game, like. If you're buying this game, be well aware that you're not going to sit down and like, I'll just play like 15 minutes of Endless Space. This is a game where, you log in on like a Sunday morning and you're like, maybe I'll play a few turns of Endless Space, and then it's like 8 p.m. and you're like less than 100 years into your civilization. You're just like, fuck. But for people who are into games like that, totally, I think Endless Space is really damn cool. I hope it finds a market somewhere. I don't think it has like a big niche that it's really marketing to, but I hope the people within that demographic can find it and purchase it, because a lot of good work's been done on this game, and it would be a shame to see it like just fail. And I worry that it's going to if I wake up tomorrow and it's like 100 games are for sale for $2 or less.
Yeah, no, that's I get your point. And I think we talked about it a bit last time. Games oftentimes getting buried in the madness of just huge amounts of releases. So I don't know. Hopefully, the games that deserve to be on top are on top. But it's the way she goes.
But sometimes it's better when the game's on the bottom, because then the game has to do less work.
That's true. But sometimes you just want to finish up, and you just
It's true. I mean, like, if the game's about to finish, like you want to choose where it finishes too. You don't want to, necessarily have to come inside of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes it sometimes it's easier to clean up when it's external, like on your tummy or whatever, because you just wipe that shit down.
No, I eat it myself. Like I shoot it directly into my own mouth.
Oh, I was gonna say I put it on a piece of toast or whatever, kind of like jam.
Definitely. You know how people like make a grilled cheese sandwich and the cheese kind of makes the bread stick together?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, that's true. You throw on a little bacon there, added protein.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, this is getting gross.
What the hell? Just saw the picture for Bellator MMA.
I know, right?
It looks really bad. Hey, you should look that up if you're listening to this at home right now.
Bellator MMA Onslaught.
The picture is
a
so
game that
cheap.
I'm going to shit out of my colon.
And other than that, it doesn't really look like there's that much coming out this week. Spelunky, that's the big one, I guess.
Legend of Zelda for the 3DS W.
That's like 3DS Where, I think.
I don't.
It's like the virtual console.
Yeah.
It's the original Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
It's a good game. I mean, Nintendo has
sucks, man. Are you kidding me?
Nintendo has a history of overcharging for those. My guess is it's probably going to be $5. So just if you've never played The Legend of Zelda, why the hell not? Take it on the go with you. If you're one of the like 2 people listening to this who owns a 3DS.
I own a 3DS. I bought it for The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
it's okay, but it was like an impulse purchase.
Mm-hmm. They're cheap, so.
Well, not at the time. It's like $250 or something. I was like, oh, this is cool and stuff, and big nostalgia factor, but then I just stopped playing it.
Man, I just noticed Dungeon Fighter Live Fall of Hendon-Meyer is coming to Xbox Live Marketplace. So that's like the same franchise as Dungeon Fighter Online. Apparently that game's taken over.
Is it? How is Dungeon Twister gonna compare?
I saw the picture for that as well. People should look up that one.
It's it looks like kind of like an ape with shiny skin and a slightly larger head mixed with like a troll.
Yeah.
And some chick with big boobs.
Dungeon Twister is an Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network incarnation of the role-playing board game created by Christophe Bollinger. Oh man, I should not try to pronounce that in French.
Bollinger?
Christophe Bollinger, let's say. Maybe it's Bollinger.
He's French.
French developer Hydrovision states that they intended to make the game as close to playing the real board game as possible. Excuse me.
There's a board game?
Apparently, yeah, fair enough. The board game is a two-player strategy game with two sets of adventurers trying to be the first out of a dungeon. Players have an identical set of different characters? Identical set of different characters?
Is that like identical twins?
But different. I guess, I don't know. Each with a different skill set. The first to 5 points win. I thought the whole point was trying to be the first out of the dungeon. Players earn points for getting individual characters out of the dungeon. Okay. Among other things. Maybe it's going to be good. I mean, if you're into these kind of games, then you should probably check this out.
I don't know. I have no problem saying this one's probably going to suck.
The picture does not look encouraging.
Like, that just bothers me, man.
What is in the background there? Is it just like a bunch of gears or something?
Some clockwork or something. Maybe it's like a Clockwork Orange of video games.
Yeah, maybe it's like that. Probably not.
So that looks like... What else?
The Secret World came out.
Did we mention Final Fantasy?
It's Final Fantasy, like, Theatrhythm, right?
Yeah.
It's a rhythm... I saw some coverage of this. It's on 3DS. It's like a Final Fantasy game. It has a bunch of Final Fantasy characters in it. But it's a rhythm game. So you, like... It'll bring icons to you, kind of like Elite Beat agents. And you, like, use your stylus to trace and tap the kind of rhythm courses that it gives you to complete battles and, like, progress in the game. I've heard it looks... People that have played it have said it's decently cool. Maybe not really cool, but it's cool enough. But it's $40, which seems a little steep for what kind of just seems like a mini game. But who knows?
But they give you a cartridge.
I like rhythm games.
Elite Beat Agents, I love that game, man. That was great.
Yeah, you and Ireland were into that for a while, right?
Oh yeah, for shizzle.
All right, well then we got to end the podcast now because you said for shizzle. Yeah, the Secret World came out. I'm kind of embarrassed to say, like, this is almost certainly the most high-profile release, except maybe for Spelunky, I guess, of this week. But I don't know anything about it, except for the fact that it's getting coverage from places. I think it's an MMO, right? Secret World is an MMORPG influenced by ancient mythology, legends, and myths. Who made it? Funcom. Curious.
Who comes up with these names?
Funcom's a great name, man.
Is it like...
they made Bloodline Champions. Oh, no, they publisher. Okay. Yes, maybe they did. They made Age of Conan. Okay, so I can see why people are interested in that.
What's that one website? Welcome to the Mambo.com or what?
Zombo.
Zombo. Welcome to Zombo.com.
And I think that's it for new releases. Like, at least like retail stuff and stuff on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a re-release of The Darkness 2 on Xbox Live Marketplace.
That's kind of cool, but I would never buy anything on Xbox Live Marketplace because it's always super overpriced.
Yes, I think they should give you a slight break on pricing for digital stuff.
Man, do you see next week's new releases?
What are we looking at?
Quantum Conundrum on Xbox Live Arcade and PSN.
Yep, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, which is a port. Like, those first three are all ports. NCAA football, and then a bunch of WiiWare titles.
Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure releases.
Mm-hmm. On the 3Ds.
Sword of Hope 2. Rainbow Moon. That sounds good. I don't know what it is, but
if Rainbow Moon's text indicates to me that it is possibly a Japanese RPG, in which case you have probably just offended somebody who's like, man, Mike Fox doesn't know shit about JRPGs. Rainbow Moon is the tits.
Surprise, surprise, I don't know anything about JRPGs. I don't think I've ever played one in my life.
Hey, this is actually a good segue to get into news.
Yeah, let's do some news.
Because...
Except first I want to say that Get Up and Dance is coming to PlayStation 3 Network.
I'm probably going to sit down and not get that.
Well, I'm going to lie down and definitely not get that.
I'm going to get up and get a PS3, though, maybe. But
You should, actually.
Of course, I know. I need to.
Blu-ray player, it's like...
I don't watch Blu-rays, man.
Yeah, you don't, but I'm just saying, like, for me, that was actually kind of a tipping factor because I needed a new one, and it's a good Blu-ray player just, for that. It's good bang for the buck, but some good games. I still need to get Journey. I've been told that's really good. So I'm going to do that whenever Sony decides they want to take my credit card.
Journey starts with a J. JRPGs. Final Fantasy VII is getting released on the PC.
Don't stop believing.
But it is not the HD remake that people have been clamoring for like 10 years now. It is just like, from what I've seen graphically, it looks like maybe a slight upgrade, but, pretty similar to the 1997 game that people know and love or know and revile. And what's kind of curious about that is that people thought it was going to be coming to Steam, but it's actually just coming out to the Square digital distribution website. Square, obviously, or Square Enix being the publisher.
Everybody's got their own digital distributions now.
Absolutely. Well, why copy Steam, man? Steam's been doing gangbusters.
Yeah, but it's like they have everybody. I've never actually looked too much into Origin, but isn't that just EA games?
Yes, as far as I know.
Where Steam is like, shit, we got it all. We got our own games, great deals. But hey, you want to put your game on it? All right.
Yeah, so far it seems like it's mostly just. It's not like small developers or publishers that are like, we're going to start our own digital distribution service. It's other big publishers who are like, well, we have this game that people want to play, so we're going to make it so they have to get Origin or they have to go to the Square digital distribution service in order to play it. But I knew a lot of people who got Origin just to play like Battlefield 3. And I'm sure a lot of people will get on Square's service to get that remake of Final Fantasy VII, but that's coming out. It's got kind of a weird feature called a character booster. I'm not sure if that's going to be like a microtransaction, but apparently what it does is if like you're at a particularly difficult boss battle or something like that, you can just like tap the character booster and it will refill like your HP and your magic points as well. It's basically making it so you can easily get by difficult sections of the game, which strikes me as kind of crazy. I realize that maybe games have gotten easier over the past like 15 years, so the older games might seem more difficult to people who are playing them for the first time. But Final Fantasy VII is not a particularly difficult game. There's parts of it that require some trial and error, I guess, but it's an RPG, so as long as you have like, solid strategy and I guess you do research on the enemies that you come across, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they should have left it as is. Why make it easier?
Agreed. You ever play Final Fantasy VII?
I have not.
I played it a lot. I probably played it through like 4 or 5 times. It was one of those games where if it came out when you were like 10 to 15, for a brief period in your life, you were probably like, oh, this is the fucking greatest game ever.
But
Tifa has huge tits. That's totally not the reason, though. But yeah, it's a good game. Most of my reverence for it is out of nostalgia. But I don't think if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII before in your life, I don't think you would be wise to invest like 40 hours into beating it now. I think you probably won't understand what's so hype about it back then.
I once bought on PlayStation 2 Final Fantasy X.
Right.
I got like a few hours in, I guess, but I just don't. The Final Fantasy games never really grabbed me. Maybe I should have invested more time in them. I'm not saying they're bad games. It's just like I've never kind of gotten the mode where I really was drawn in by them. So
yeah, no, I feel you. Like, everyone's got genres that they don't really like.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't really like RPGs. I don't really like RPGs that much, to be honest with you. But
well, I'm kind of picky about RPGs
or turn-based RPGs, maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe it's just something I need to kind of get into. But I'm very finicky about RPGs. Pretty much like Morrowind and stuff. That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
I played a bit of Oblivion. It was kind of. I like the open world, but even still, no RPGs have really honestly impressed me. Like ever. I have high expectations. I'm still dreaming of the day when I can plant a tree seed and it'll grow and I can come back and then it's there. It sounds like odd, weird thingy, but I like the kind of like open world sandbox, like real system simulation kind of like that stuff, which is far off because obviously hardware is the limiting factor.
Yeah, of course.
Anyways, that's something I could talk about forever, so let's not get into that.
There's other news, but I've forgotten. I think you have like a list or something.
I did write down a couple things. Well, obviously we already talked about Steam Summer Sale, possibly.
I think it's gonna happen July 5th to like July 19th, maybe. That's my prediction right now.
You want to put money down on this?
You know, I would put like $20 down that it's gonna start on July 5th.
Whoa, $20.
That's enough to buy one copy of Resonance.
Big spender over here. Okay, well that's good. That shows you're pretty confident. So people can give you hell, I guess.
Or I'm just really bad with money.
It's true. You still owe me a burger, man.
For that one that I threw on the floor?
Yes.
You put your fingers in my poutine.
No, I didn't. I didn't put my finger. I'm very precise. I touched one fry.
You like mashed your hand all in it.
Oh, don't give. I would never do that. That's so gross. I hate getting my hands all like gunky.
You were out of your mind, man.
I think you were out of your mind.
That's
threw
true.
my burger on the floor.
I can't believe we're still talking about this.
Because I want my burger. That was like me trying to get food. Remember we ate all that shitty Chinese food that day?
It was Vietnamese food, asshole.
No, it wasn't. It was Chinese food.
It was Vietnamese food.
I'm pretty sure it was Chinese food. Either way, it was the worst Chinese food. For
It
those
was
of you who
pretty
don't know,
horrible.
We went. We had like this kind of New Year's escapade. A bunch of us stayed in a Chinatown Super 8 in Toronto, and there's a lot of restaurants around and stuff like that. So we went to this one place. They had like, what was it, $4 or $5 for 5 items?
$4, and you got like rice plus 4 dishes.
Yeah, and they were all like cold and soggy and just really shitty. So we just got a garbage bag and we all threw like 5 pounds of food in each. And
I got chicken balls somehow. Like I think they just assumed that because we were white, they're like, you want chicken balls for sure. But so I got like 2 chicken balls, and I bit into one of them, and it was just bread. Like it was like there was no meat inside of it. It was just like a breaded ball.
The noodles were like hard and stale.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. So, if you're going out for Chinese food in Toronto, don't eat in the basement of the Chinatown Mall with the Super 8 in it.
Yeah, that place is crazy. That's why I ate that burger, you asshole, and then you fucking wasted half of it on me. I'm still angry. Anyways, that was otherwise a good time.
I threw it on the ground.
I don't care if you're big, I'll fight you a lot.
Hit me up with some more news.
Some more news. We got Call of Duty Online.
Cool.
Gonna be the greatest game of the decade.
Aren't all Call of Duties online? Next story.
This one's pretty much, well, obviously we already talked about Spec Ops, and we said sorry about that. Halo 4 multiplayer will require an 8 gigabyte installation. That's multiplayer. That's not the game. That's like just multiplayer.
Seems weird to me, but most people have the 250 gigabyte model on 360.
I have a 60 gig.
That's kind of a tall ask, I guess.
Not particularly for me. I'll typically install a big game that I'm playing a lot.
So like reduce load times or something?
Yeah, just to hopefully make it not loud.
Right, yeah.
Spinning disc. I've got an older model of the 360, so it's pretty loud when I have that sucker on. You can hear the fans, so just to help out any way that I can. But I think the 8 gigabyte installation, and that's mandatory. That's not like an option. So
it's weird. I wonder what that's for. Like,
I think it must be optimization and stuff. I mean, the game's Halo 4 is the first in their new trilogy, right? Okay. So I mean, it's kind of an odd placement because we're getting pretty much towards the end of the 360's lifespan. It's been a good run, but hardware wise, there's a lot more they could do to it. So,
guess they're doing what they can to like. If they're gonna make the game look this good, this is what they have to do, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking, just to give it some good frame rate and good speed and all that crap. So, I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I don't think they would just do it, for shits and giggles.
Or like install like a spyware program or something on there.
Malware.
Nah, whatever. I'm still living in the early 2000s.
That's pretty much I just looked at a couple things, but there was something I remember earlier this week I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
but I can't remember what it is. I don't know. Do we want to talk about Sony's new cloud gaming?
Nah, I have no insight on that.
Neither do I. I don't know. Cloud gaming is it the future? Who knows? Maybe we'll talk about that in a future podcast episode. It seems to be getting a little more traction these days. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's I don't really...
It's been a pretty slow week for gaming news, I think.
Yeah, not too much. Again, a lot of stuff is really kind of speculation at this point. We won't know a lot of things until, I don't know.
Yeah.
New console wise, again, speculation until we're ready. Well, when is the Wii U coming out again? End of this year?
Yeah, like November holiday season 2012.
Holiday season. So.
And I should point out, if you guys are listening to this, if you find a place that takes Wii U pre-orders, please let me know, because I want to be doing some day zero coverage of that, and I don't want to miss out, even though I am kind of skeptical about the success or how much I'm going to enjoy the Wii U. I want to get on that ASAP. So if you hear news that EB Online is accepting pre-orders or something like that, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter or something.
All about Walmart, man.
Possibly. I got no qualms shopping at Walmart for gaming stuff.
You scum. No, that'll be interesting. Maybe if I'm actually in Ontario by the end of the year, we could do some sweet... we can both get some Wii U gamepads.
Yeah, absolutely. We can play some Nintendo Land.
What we'll do is just like what they did with the PS3 and 360 releases, and any new release, we'll just be the first one to get the console and then just smash it. Yes. Or shoot it point blank with a sawed off.
That might get us put on some kind of watch list, but
possibly.
Man, can you imagine our like to dislike ratio on that video where we just picked up a Wii U and smashed it on the ground?
What's that? Where I was mesmerized by this Expendables video game.
It's not important. Questions. Let's get on to some saving progress questions. We had a lot of good questions this week.
Yeah, I think with general improvement, people are kind of getting down to what kind of questions we like to see, what we expect to see. So what I'll do, I'll just go pretty much, instead of trying to sort them, I'm going to go through them at when they appeared, first come, first serve. However, if it's a shitty question or irrelevant or we can't answer it, whatever, we'll skip it. So,
okay. If we skip your question or even insult your question, don't be insulted. This is just a learning process to figure out what kind of questions we're going to try to answer. Again, I stressed this on Twitter. I want to stress it again in the podcast. Mostly, if you want your question to get answered, it should be relevant to gaming, so not how big is your dick. And it should.
How big is it?
I
don't answer that.
So
I don't want to know.
The tape measure's still rolling back in. I don't know yet. So it should be relevant to gaming in some way or another, and the best questions that are going to get answered, or that have the best chance of getting answered, are probably going to be timely as well. They're going to be about something that happened this week. For example, a good question might be "Hey Northernlion, you shithead, you were totally wrong about Spec Ops: The Line. How do you feel about that?"
Yeah. So yeah, just pay attention to past podcasts. Obviously, the kind of things we talk about in general, and obviously the videos we both produce. That'll help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's go with the first question I see here. When did you first get your Apple Pippin, and what games did you get with it?
I saw that question on Twitter, and I don't understand it.
I don't either. I was hoping you would.
Okay.
But it's from the guy, Pippin is the best. So maybe it's some kind of spam. I'm honestly not sure. If it's an important question, ask it next week and elaborate.
Yeah, please elaborate, because I don't know.
I don't want to answer something I'm not super familiar with or familiar with at all. Next question, I think this one was kind of directed at you. It's asking any hopes for specific games for summer Steam sale.
Yeah, actually, I mentioned on Twitter the other day that I wanted to see LA Noire go on sale, because that was a game that I wanted to play back when it came out, but that was when I was in Korea, so I couldn't get any games. And, you know, $50-$60 is a little bit steep for me to pay for that now and that it's a year old. And, of course, as soon as I say, like, the game... I would really like to see LA Noire go on sale. I got, like, 10 messages on Twitter that were like, LA Noire was on sale Wednesday of last week with all of its DLC for $5. So,
yeah, I don't know. Pretty good game. I bought that when it came out. I actually haven't finished it completely. But it's pretty close. Like, got through, like, one of the bigger climaxes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I should go back and finish it. I definitely haven't touched any of the DLC, but
so yeah, I'd like to see that on the cheap.
That's a good call. What about some other games you're thinking of, dreaming of?
I don't know if you saw this, but Amazon is doing a summer sale as well. And they, on their first day, they had Max Payne 3 for $30 instead of $60.
Good deal.
And for some reason, I didn't bite on it. I guess because I'm a total Steam fanboy or something.
Yep.
But so that kind of piqued my interest. I'd like to see Max Payne get a little bit of a discount, even if it comes down to like $40, $45. I'll probably pick that up because a lot of people have been recommending it every week for the past few weeks on the podcast. You've been like, this game is really good. So maybe I snoozed and lost a little bit by not going with the Amazon deal, but I'd like to see that come down a little bit as well.
I definitely, if you do see a sale, get it. We could even play some online together. It's kind of, I remember our days of playing Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Sort of similar to that, honestly.
Makes sense. I mean, Rockstar.
Yes.
Apparently that's what I want. I want every Rockstar game to come down in price.
Yeah, the scumbags with their $100 million budgets for Grand Theft Auto 4 jerks.
How about you? You got anything in particular you want to see come down?
No. What I want to see is Curse of Monkey Island made for the modern PC. That's what I would like.
Okay. Maybe not this week, but...
They should put that on Steam. And I don't care. They could sell it for... Actually, don't. Because now you have to buy it for like $80. And it's not even like compatible with shit. So, but no. For serious games, I'm thinking of. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not the kind of guy to ask this question because I don't want to say like I'm bad with money, but I don't have any reservations about like buying a game. If I'm like shit, I'm gonna enjoy that game, I pretty much just buy it. I'm not a, or even anything in general. I don't really hunt for sales unless it's a huge ticket item.
I would like to see London 2012, the official video game of the Olympic Games, come down a little bit in price. So yes. Because we are going to buy that despite it probably not being very good. So the less money we have to spend on that, the better. But
yeah, and we mentioned that. We're actually going to do kind of like, I don't know if we'd fit that into the whole spa thing or just like a complete
we'll do like a standalone.
Either way, we're going to be looking at that game. So it'd be nice if it was cheaper because it's not like a game I would necessarily want to play. It's kind of like one of those movies that's so bad it's good.
Right. I will say, though, apparently it got decent reviews, like better than... I played the Vancouver 2010 game because I was going to do a Poison Mushroom episode on it, actually. That game was garbage. It has like a 30 or something on Metacritic. But this one's doing all right. I think it's getting in like the 6 range, which is certainly not good, but it's not trash anyway.
Better, yeah. So, well, that should be fun. Either way, yeah, I'm ready to finish putting together my PC. And my brother, because I told you I was talking to him, and we're kind of updating each other on the game world. I was like, hey, yeah, man, I put a bunch of money into a sweet new PC. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's cool, because he's a big PC gamer, too. And he's like, what's your first game you're going to buy? And I was like, 2012. And he's like, what? So it's kind of funny, you put all this money into a super awesome PC and, playing a game that you wouldn't expect somebody to want to play, but that's cool. So
beyond that, I'm just excited for basically like all the sales that are going to be happening. Not so much even for myself, but because like a lot of like every indie game that goes on sale, if it's come out in the past year or 2 years, I probably already have a copy of it. But I'm excited to maybe give back a little bit to the community. If you see something like Tiny and Big Grandpa's Leftovers is on for $2.50 today, maybe I can pick up 5 or 10 copies of that and give them away on Twitter or something. I'm excited to be like, I want to be like a summer Santa Claus a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't expect like free stuff, but I was thinking about that last week actually. Maybe every once in a while throw a game out there, but obviously for people that are into our stuff, listen to our podcast and all that kind of stuff. It's nice to do anyways, or even you can just go do that on your own. I mean, Not necessarily saying it has to be associated with
Right,
saving
right, right.
progress, but that's something I like to do too, because I've got some pretty diehard followers of my content, and it's just a great way to say like, hey, thanks for watching, because that's the views gets the monies, and the monies keeps you doing this stuff, especially when you do it full time like you do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my way of saying thanks, because it's been like since Wrath of the Lamb has come out, it's been pretty awesome. So good way to show my appreciation.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question.
Yeah.
What do we got here? What do you guys think about Machinima, and does Ryan still work with them?
Yes, I still work for them. Occasionally, I think we might have covered this before, but occasionally there's some kind of like controversy for Machinima. Like recently, there was a YouTube personality by the name of Brain Deadly or something, and he posted this like sad piano video of like him in tears, like Machinima's got me in indentured slavery and I can't leave them for the rest of my life. They said I'm with them forever. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I'm with Machinima and have been with them for, I guess, like coming up to like 1 year anniversary right now. Nothing but good things to say about that company. Totally professional, totally reliable, and totally personable. Got lots of good people working at that company. It is not like this evil empire, and I hate that the internet always has to turn successful things, or often turns successful things, into something evil, when Machinima is actually awesome. At least on a professional level. I'm not that into a lot of the content that they upload on their main channel. Like I guess I'm not that into like Call of Duty montages or anything like that. But the organization itself, top class, and I'm glad that they've found a place for me within their organization.
That's good. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have any negative impressions of Machinima. I always look at that kind of stuff, bad news, with a grain of salt. Obviously, everybody's always trying to get their pound of flesh. So this just some punk kid.
Nice Merchant of Venice reference.
Thank you. I got a tattooed on my chest.
Yeah?
No.
I didn't think so.
On my leg. Gotcha.
I'm gonna get my face tattooed on my own face.
I actually already said that. Didn't I tweet that at some point? Did you steal that from me?
I think you stole it from me.
I did not.
It's the new age of the internet, man. Everyone steals everything from everyone. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to planet Earth.
I guess so.
I just made, when I said planet Earth, I made like a circle with my hands, and then I hated myself a little bit because I'm alone in my room.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of sad.
It is pretty sad.
I'm a very gesture oriented person too. People actually kind of make fun of me when I make videos of me in them because my hands are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so yeah, that's enough of Machinima. This one I think is gonna be. Have you beat Quantum Conundrum?
No.
Then I guess.
So I have no opinion on the ending song.
Yeah. The question was, what do you think of Quantum Conundrum's ending song? Can't say.
Actually, I should air something about Quantum Conundrum. I like Quantum Conundrum. I have not beaten Quantum Conundrum, and I will never beat Quantum Conundrum because the game gives me like incredible motion sickness. But I put that aside for my impressions video of it because I am just like a total wuss when it comes to motion sickness. I get it when I play lots of different games. I got it really bad when I played Quantum Conundrum. I got it really bad when I played Portal, and those two games are very similar.
Dude gets car sickness when he rides his bicycle.
I get seasickness when I drink a glass of water. But anyway, we're not here to exchange one-liners.
It's just because I put salt in it.
So we're not... like, Quantum Conundrum is a great game, but I feel kind of hypocritical for being like, it's a great game, I never want to play it again. On a mental level, it's a stimulating game, lots of fun. On a physical level, it makes me feel like I'm going to throw up. So it's unfortunate, but I think 99% of the population has no problem with it.
Probably like, for me, Techno Kitten Adventure. That was pretty
hard.
Harsh.
Yeah, it was just like slapping you in the face with like flashing lights all day, right?
Basically, squirting Pepto-Bismol in your eye and then start clamping your nipples with clothespins.
Yeah, so just a regular Tuesday afternoon.
No, I mean, it was kind of a interesting sort of game, but it was hard for me to play it for extended periods of time, so I feel your pain, dog.
Yeah, there's been 2 games this year that have almost made me throw up while recording them. One of them was Quantum Conundrum, and the second one was Bloodforge. One of those you should definitely play if you're into those kind of games. One of them you should stay away from at all costs, and you can probably figure out which one for yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let the audience figure that one out. Next question: can we expect an LP of Spelunky?
Probably some kind of ongoing series for me. I'm not sure. I know you've been talking about maybe doing one as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of want to do one. Hopefully, I don't know if that's gonna bother people, because obviously a lot of people that follow you have, from you have come in and followed me, so they might be like, well, why am I gonna go watch Michael play this game when Ryan's already playing it, or like vice versa. Although I don't think it'd be as much of a problem for you, to be honest, but like so I don't know, maybe people can comment in this video if they don't care. I don't know, maybe
honestly I think it's fine. Like we're both doing Kerbal Space Program stuff right now. And if anything, I think it's encouraging like more activity on both of our episodes, because I think we're both getting comments now that are like, on your side, like, wow, you're doing like so much better than Ryan, and on mine, they're like, wow, what a dumbass, Mike is beating him so hard.
It's true. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so maybe I mean, I haven't played the game yet, so it's hard for me to tell. Maybe I'll have a completely different play style. It's just,
yeah, absolutely.
It's probably going to be different for every person who plays it. I mean, it's, yeah, so we'll see. Maybe I'll put something out there. Maybe I just won't want to do an LP of it once I start playing it for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible you might just hate it, I guess.
At least I would expect to see something. At least, yeah, at the very least one of us, even if it is just a one-off video. But
yeah, like 100% going to do a Let's Look At that'll probably be up late this week or on the weekend. And maybe like a Northernlion play series for me as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, I mean, you expect to see stuff from that. Next question. This one is, it was directed at you because I think you asked the question, but I'm not sure if it's actually directed at you specifically. Okay. Anyways, what do you want from the next gen, given that it's coming in the next year or so?
We've talked about that before.
Especially as mainly PC Mac gamers. I'm not mainly a PC Mac gamer. I try to game everything, so.
But we covered that in, I think, like in our E3 podcast, we covered...
Yeah.
Better hardware, not necessarily for graphics, but for the kind of possibilities that it will open for game design. Exactly
what I was going to say. To me, it's like, obviously graphics will continue to improve for the next while. Maybe not as exponential or linear. I don't know what the graph would look like, but graphics will improve. But I'm more concerned, like you, hardware in terms of actual functionality and gameplay mechanics of the game. Because, again, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the curtains that you don't really see. Like people say, oh, I need hardware so I can play this game in such a high resolution, but me, who gives a shit? Like, I want the game to play well and be interesting and unique. I don't need another piece of eye candy.
In the end, I think new hardware coming out is going to be positive for all gamers, whether you primarily play on the PC or on consoles or on Mac or on any kind of amalgam of the three. Because, even if you think of it on like a very basic level, better hardware for consoles. There's a lot of console studios out there, or studios making games primarily for consoles. Means better games on consoles eventually. It might take them a little while to get used to the technology. A lot of those games are going to get ported to PC and Mac, so it means better quality stuff for us, rather than getting like, we're getting ports on the PC right now. I'm mainly game on the PC, but we're getting ports of games that are basically running on like 7-year-old hardware. So, it's positive, but we've talked about that at length. I think if you want to hear more about our thoughts on the next generation, what little insight we could possibly have, you can check out earlier episodes.
Yes. Okay, so that's a question. Next, this pretty much applies to you. Are you excited for Dark Souls PC? What do you think is a reasonable price point for it? That's kind of... You've talked about that in the past. Yeah,
Cliff notes it. Reasonably excited. I think there's some discouraging elements and some encouraging elements. Like, it's discouraging that they seem to just be kind of saying like, well, we're not going to fix the frame rate. We can't figure it out, so we're just not going to do it. But the like matchmaking and party system for multiplayer, I think, is going to be positive for a lot of people, even if it does kind of take away from the isolation aspect that made the multiplayer of Dark Souls on consoles so unique. Good price point. I don't think it's unreasonable to ask $60 for that game. It's a great game, and it's coming to the PC for the first time. I think people will pay that. I don't think people will even really bitch about it if it's $60. But I guess it would be nice, considering it's a year old, to discount it to like 40 or something.
Yeah.
If it's as good as the console versions, it's not gonna. It might be a bad port or a shoddy port, but it's not gonna be a bad game.
Okay, no, that's good to hear. What's this next one? Okay, this one's kind of good. I like this. Do you think the release of Penny Arcade 3 on Xbox Live Indie Games does anything to legitimize a service that's often viewed in a dim light?
Actually, this is a cool question. I didn't see that
Yeah.
one. So Penny Arcade Episode 3 was developed by Z-Boyd Games, who also made like Cthulhu Saves the World and Breath of Death 7. And kind of the figurehead of that studio is this guy, Robert Boyd, who I talked to, weirdly enough, on like Gmail chat just before the game came out. And I asked him like a similar question. I was like, why did you make this decision to release the game on Xbox Live Indie Games as opposed to Xbox Live Arcade? And he's basically like, number one, I'm not sure if you knew this. This came to light recently because Phil Fish was talking about like how he had to patch Fez a couple times. Microsoft charges $40,000 to release a patch for Xbox Live games, Xbox Live Arcade games, I should say.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but I think it's because they require it to go through like so much testing before it comes out and like certification and stuff like that, and probably to, I guess, discourage people from releasing unreleased games on the service. But anyway. So he's like, that's one reason, because Xbox Live Indie Games, you don't have to pay that. Two, we have like more freedom with our pricing, so we can choose to release it for $5, which is what they released it for. Whereas if they released it on Xbox Live Arcade, Microsoft probably would have been like, this is kind of a premium release, maybe $10 to $15. And he was basically like, what's the point of releasing it on Xbox Live Arcade? Like, we're putting it out there the same way, like on the same platform. I guess the only difference is like visibility, because those Xbox Live Arcade games obviously get promotion, and the indie games platform is kind of like hidden away. So yeah, long story short, I think it does legitimize it. I don't think it goes a long way towards legitimizing it, because there's just so many shitty games that come out on that service. But it's nice to see like a game with like a really professional studio and a good game. That's a solid game. Come out on a service that is, otherwise maligned. I think it's a positive step, but is that like a step that's going to generate momentum for the platform? Probably not. I think everyone basically considers Xbox Live Indie Games to be more or less a wasteland at this point.
Yeah, still you're going to have high school kids or whatever making their games and putting that shit out there because it's free or whatever, and just, I don't, maybe it'll encourage other high-end developers or, indie developers, I should say, to make use of it. If it's successful, then we'll see some better games on there, but it's still not going to reduce the number of shitty games that we're seeing on it.
Exactly. And I don't know, I think that the trade-off is like, because it's coming out on Xbox Live Indie Games, I think it's a foregone conclusion. I don't think I'm being controversial by saying this, but because of that, Penny Arcade Episode 3 is going to sell less copies than it would have if it was an Xbox Live Arcade release, where it might have gotten like front page advertisement, and maybe like more legitimate news outlets would have taken it seriously and given it like more coverage or like legitimate reviews. And I don't know, I didn't really look at the media coverage. It seemed like it got reviews from a lot of notable sources.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like Radiohead or Nine Inch Nails being like, pay what you want.
Kind of, but
sometimes that can generate more. I'm not saying it will, but you never know. People might be like, wow, that's kind of like different and respectable and all that sort of stuff.
So the difference is that this isn't like a Radiohead or Nine Inch Nails. Like,
no, that I guess it's not to that scale.
This is more like, I don't know, like some band that has a good following, but is not necessarily huge, being like, we're going to do it like this. So I think people that are not familiar with like Z-Boyd Games and the Penny Arcade franchise are just like, this game is not going to be on their radar, whereas otherwise it might have been if it came out on a more visible platform. But like I said, I think it's a brave decision. I think it's good for the platform, and I hope it works out well for them. I really like that game. I was pretty glowing in my praise for it in the Let's Look At It I did.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
Actually, I'm sure those guys are going to be fine because it came out on Steam as well. So
yeah, I honestly think, and Penny Arcade has a pretty big following and stuff like that. So
if I had to hazard a guess, I'm gonna guess that they probably sold like 98% of their copies on Steam so far, and like 2% on Xbox Live Indie Games.
Yeah, I think if I were to choose, I would definitely go with Steam personally. I don't know. Okay, so next, what was this one?
That's a good example of a relevant, timely question, by the way.
That is a very... and it's just like a good kind of question to think about. I mean, I don't know, just talking about the whole legitimizing and all that kind of stuff. I just enjoy that. Overall, it's a great question for many reasons. Next question, we kind of already answered this. Who will be on the podcast, and will any games be played? games being played on the podcast, not in the near future.
Right.
Again, obviously distance separates us, so, and just processing all that crap, it's not worth it for the podcast at the current time. So
if you want me to upload like 3 to 4 videos a day, as I've been doing, I can't have like a 7 gigabyte podcast with video that's irrelevant to the audio. Like,
yeah,
just, and we've said this many times, but it keeps popping up in the comments. Open this in a tab, download the MP3, listen to it at your leisure while doing something
iTunes,
else.
You've got now iTunes actually there's a whole lot of podcast apps, but Apple just came out with a specific podcasting app.
Is that Apple Pippin?
Maybe that's it. No, it's just called Podcasts, and just kind of like how they've done it with books, iBooks and all that crap. And I even tested it out with the Saving Progress podcast. You just search. I mean, you can search by categories and stuff, and it's their own in-house app. Obviously, there are other apps that do it, but basically the power of this app is that you don't need to download it on your computer in iTunes and then sync your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
You just, download the app, you search whatever podcast is on iTunes, and you download that shit. Or you can, like, buffer it, or you can download it right to your phone. So it's even easier to listen to us now. Go subscribe to us with our iTunes feed and all that good stuff. And as well, a lot of the kind of people say, oh, you guys should play a game while you're doing the podcast and stuff. One, that would be kind of distracting.
Yes.
And two, that kind of competitive, people like our banter back and forth, which is cool, I understand. So you can see that sort of in Saving Progress Arena, or SPA for short, that we mentioned earlier. That's kind of there. So that's almost like what you might expect to see, or what you might see from the podcast if we actually did have video. So you've got that. So
yeah, absolutely.
And who will be on the podcast? Well, we already mentioned Josh.
What's his channel name? It's like youtube.com/jsmithoti.
Like J, just the letter J Smith _OTI.
Is it _OTI or is it? Let's check this out quickly.
Either way, even on my channel, he's in my sidebar near the bottom.
All right. Okay. There's no underscore, so it's like letter J Smith OTI.
Okay, no underscore. Okay, so yeah, definitely go subscribe to him already if you haven't. He started up his Prince of Persia Let's Play. I'm sure you can hear more about that on next week's podcast if he is gracing us with his presence and other stuff. And of course, he's going to be doing a lot of videos with the two of us.
Absolutely.
So that's for the near future. He will be a regular on the podcast from there. Who knows? We don't know. I don't know. Or maybe we do and we just don't. Surprises are good. But anyways,
let's take 2 more questions.
Okay. Oh, there's some really good. Oh, there's a lot more left than I thought. Okay, so first of all, if we've gone past your question, you can submit it next week. We're not, it doesn't mean it's not a good question. It's just hard to pick. So let me go up to at Rockley Smith. I think you're familiar with this fellow. Yeah, he's asked a few good questions actually.
Also, he's a YouTuber himself. You can check him out. He does like indie impressions videos that are very similar to the Let's Look Ats that Mike and I do. And that is youtube.com/RockLeeSmile, Lee Lee. So you can check him out there.
First, well, I'm gonna do this one just because I can do it quickly too. We won't count it, but yes, can you recommend and speak on a good method or methods to use to capture console game footage and commentate over it for YouTube? And this is actually something I kind of been working on the Hush Hush a little bit, but I'm just making a video. It kind of goes through the whole process of capturing footage for consoles, programs and stuff you would use to edit it, and just kind of tips and tricks I've picked up on anyways, and just going over different hardware suggestions and editing it, like all that basically from start to finish, even talking about how do you pick a game that you want to play and stuff like that, and then getting it on YouTube.
That's important. And
yeah, it is important, and a lot of people ask me that and that kind of stuff. What software do you use and this and that. And I'm more than welcoming of those questions. I'll answer them if you if you send them. But the purpose of this video is kind of just to be like a instructional video for those who that actually want to get into doing Let's Play videos and stuff, and just kind of giving you a top-down, look at the whole process and what you're getting into, because it's easy to get into, but I think at the same time it's kind of hard to master. And I'm definitely not a master of it. But,
yeah, like you're gonna, when you first start this, people think it's gonna be easy, like hit record, make it happen. Over time, you're gonna run into tech support issues like constantly, and each one of those is gonna take a while to iron out.
Yep.
So, I've been doing this for like close to 2 years now. I very rarely run into tech support problems now, but it still happens from time to time. But when I, even 6 months ago, 12 months ago, I was running into like frame rate issues. Sometimes my recorders would crash, and over time, you just iron it out. To kind of, because I'm not making a video about how to like record Let's Plays from a console, but to kind of like cliff notes my setup when I'm recording from a console, I have a device called an HD PVR.
Which you bought from me.
I did indeed buy it from you.
50% off.
It was 50% off. It was used. It makes sense. There's depreciation.
I kept it in good condition.
I didn't.
I had to travel with it halfway across the country, you asshole.
Anyway, a deal's a deal. Yeah, so my Xbox 360 goes into that, like the video and audio go into that. Then there's cables that go from that for my TV, so I can watch what's happening while it's recording, and that just records via USB cable onto my computer. And while I'm recording, I'm also recording the video, I should say, the gameplay. I'm also recording my own audio commentary. I actually use a separate laptop for that, just a really cheap one, and I'm like talking into that microphone, like my standalone microphone, plugged into my standalone laptop, which is using Audacity to record the audio. All the gameplay stuff is being recorded by the HD PVR. If you're gonna get into console gaming and you want to record it, get an HD PVR or some kind of like HD capture device. Don't do what I did and get a like Dazzle DVC100. I mean, that's like all okay if you're only capturing like, I guess, up to Nintendo Wii type stuff that only outputs in 480p. But increasingly, HD video is basically essential towards like getting noticed and not turning people away from your stuff on YouTube. So invest the $200. If you don't have the $200, maybe look more towards the PC side of things, because you can get started there a lot cheaper, obviously, because you're not buying a standalone device that only does one function.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely. Don't make the mistake of spending a little bit of money to get shitty quality video and then maybe putting yourself further away from getting better quality video. It's almost a necessity, I think, if you're going to be playing new games, to have at least 720p.
Yes, I agree. It's just good. It's something nice to look at. And again, yeah, I'm gonna go through all this stuff. There's a couple of alternatives and new products coming out all the time, and different software solutions you can. Sometimes it just comes down to preference. Sometimes it's really like there's only one good or logical thing. Like Audacity's pretty much, it's free, it's well supported.
And there's no reason to use anything but Audacity.
I mean, yeah, there's some software you might get a slightly better results or easier to use or whatever, but if you're really trying to be lean on the budget, then Audacity is great. But I was also going to say something like the benefit of the HD PVR is that it does like all the processing pretty much right there on the fly. So by the time the video gets to your computer, and what you see on your TV that you're actually playing on, there's like a couple second, 2-3 second delay. And the reason for that is like it's all processed in the HD PVR. So the benefit of that is that like I have a MacBook Air, obviously not a powerhouse of a machine, but no problems just hooking up the HD PVR to my MacBook, because essentially all you're doing is writing to the computer. You're not really using the computer to process. However, don't think like that's the end of it, because then when it comes time to actually edit and specifically render your videos, and if you want to do it in 720p or even more than that, which you're not going to be doing with the HD PVR,
right?
You're not going to get 1080p.
Captures up to 1080i or something.
1080i, which is pretty much identical to 720p.
Yeah.
The human eye can't really distinguish between those two. Anyways, rendering takes a lot more. So I mean, you can capture the stuff easily enough a lot of the time, but then you're going to be sitting there for 6 hours rendering this video. So again, I'm hoping this is kind of like a version 1 of this instructional video. So later down the road, I'm sure I'll have more to add. But
another thing that's great about the HD PVR, most people probably don't know this if they've never done any recording, But man, if you were recording on the PC with Fraps, you are going to have huge file sizes. Like,
yes,
every Fraps records depending on the video quality of the game. It's like raw file size is like 1 gigabyte per minute. Sometimes even more than that, actually. And beyond that, it also splits the files like every 4.5 gigabytes or something like that. So if you record for half an hour, you are going to get like 7 4-gigabyte files that you have to like put together in your video editor, and those can take a long time just to put into your video editor if your computer's not so good. That's an option you can
turn off, though.
Oh, you can turn off the splitting?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
But I mean, sometimes that's an issue too, because like I'm doing my Mafia. It's obviously a PC game that I'm playing, and the missions. Some of the missions vary. You can do them if you know what you're doing, maybe 20-25 minutes, which isn't too long.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the missions, and including the cutscenes, are pushing an hour. So, it's not uncommon. I've had some files I'll finish up recording and I'll come out and it'll be like 110 gigabytes. And obviously some of that gets spliced out. There's a tiny bit of overlap, or maybe if I die or something like 10 times in a row, obviously I might show one death or something and I'll splice the others out. But you just need, just the raw space before you render it. Obviously that gets rendered down to most of them end up for, at the most, if it's like an hour long, it might be 2 gigs after I render it.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
So yeah, there's a decent amount of hardware stuff required, and
but the HD PVR, like half-hour file on the HD PVR, because it does really well with its compression, probably comes out around like a gig. Maybe an hour long is going to be 1.5 gigs, 2 gigs.
Yeah, it kind of, some games it really depends on what is going on, but they do a really good job. They use the H.264 codec, and it's just great image quality overall. Small size relative to, other stuff you're going to be doing on the PC or anything.
Yeah.
So
definitely like consider this. I think I'm speaking for you here too, but like thumbs up for the HD PVR. It's a little bit expensive, I guess, depending on how serious you are with this. Like if you're not doing this full time, $200 can be a pretty big investment. But I have had literally no problems with it beyond the initial setup, which was a little bit difficult for me just because I didn't realize that component cables didn't carry audio as well.
Yeah, Ryan, he's a noob. So what was that? I was going to say something as well. It's kind of a multi-purpose thing, right? It's an HD PVR, which PVR just stands for personal video recorder. So anything with composite, which is basically those RCA, the red, white, and yellow for the video, you can hook those up. Obviously, you're not going to get very good quality. Or the components, which is you have the audio, which is the red and white, plus the green, blue, and red for the video. So anything, if you've got a DVD player or a VCR or anything like that, you can hook that up to your HD PVR and your TV at the same time, so you can record, or even your satellite and cable and all that stuff.
So you can...
The legality of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, illegally rip TV shows and movies and then upload them to Demonoid or something.
Yeah, but so it's not just a one-trick pony. It's... $200 is actually a really good deal, I think, for just general quality and what all you can do with it. So that, anyways, expect from me in the next few weeks, week or two maybe. I'm gonna try and get a video up, and hopefully you guys will have some feedback and more specific questions and stuff, so I can work on version 2. I don't know. I'd like to do something from the PC Mac perspective as well eventually. So.
And let's take one more question.
Are you looking at these questions?
I'm not looking at the questions.
Okay,
you are the ringleader right now.
I am the ring.
You're driving the bus.
Indie specific trend. Oh, it's kind of hard because a lot of these are really good. Any genre? No, that one's no good.
Tower defense. I'm sick of tower defense games.
What? Tower defense. What do you think of Popular?
I thought the question was like, are there any genres you're tired of?
That's what I started to read.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess getting tired of.
But we can take more questions.
Yeah.
Stop making tower defense games unless you're reinventing the wheel.
Which is hard because it's hard to reinvent the wheel.
In fact, I'm almost getting sick of tower defense games that have reinvented the wheel at this point.
That one's kind of old. Question, same pro and cons. Nope, that one's not. Okay, I'm just going to go with this one. Do you think largely indie-specific trend of procedurally generated content will eventually catch on with the AAA game devs? Maybe that is, I don't know. That's kind of hard for me to answer, actually.
Yeah, I don't have any insight into that. I guess like my initial reaction, my instinct is that maybe not, because that would require like insane hardware capabilities. If you're going to make a game that looks like, I don't know, looks as good as a Halo 4 or something, but also
600 gigabyte installation required.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could look at a game like Minecraft, and I mean, part of the reason that Minecraft is really bad on performance is just because the size of the world is so big, and it runs in Java, which is notoriously slow, I guess. But you know, like procedurally generated games with the kind of assets that a lot of AAA games use. I'm not a programmer or a game designer or anything, but I think that might inhibit it a little bit. But I hope so. I mean, the cool thing about like randomly generated and procedurally generated games is that they are like nearly endlessly replayable, at least as long as your like boredom holds out. So, you know, games like Spelunky and The Binding of Isaac, you can just play through what is essentially the same content over and over and it still feels fresh. But I don't know if that's the direction the games are going on a AAA scale. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Talk to an industry analyst or something.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard question. One more, because we're actually going to get in trouble if we don't answer this one apparently. What was the first game you played as a kid?
Super Mario World.
I don't even remember. I remember playing some Atari games, but I don't actually remember. So weird.
Good answer.
I don't. Well, I honestly don't remember. It's like I don't remember what my first thought was. Do you remember what your first thought was? Like, I've been playing games pretty much. I was sitting there watching my brothers play them when I couldn't play them or they wouldn't let me, and then I don't know. I was young. I was like sitting there since I was like 2 years old, 3 years old. So
I think when I was 4 or 5, I got a Super Nintendo for my birthday, and it came with Super Mario World. So
spoiled. Yeah, no, I grew up playing games like The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros. and all that stuff. So, and some sweet, Excitebike. I loved Excitebike.
I never really got into Excitebike, to be honest with you.
It wasn't that great. I just liked the track editor. I thought that was pretty cool at the time.
I mean, it was kind of after my time as well. Like, I really started with the Super Nintendo. But, I've probably played more NES games in, like, the last 4 or 5 years than I've played when I was younger. So there's a lot of games that I'm not familiar with. So when I play something like Excitebike, I'm like, yeah, I don't really get it. But I'm sure at the time it was something special.
I don't know. I was just a dumb kid. I was excited by it. I love riding bicycles in general. So, okay, one more question.
Yes.
Because I like this one. Do you think getting big on YouTube is any harder than it was, say, 2 years ago? And obviously this is directed towards you because I'm not big on YouTube, but I think you're getting pretty big. I mean, you got over 60,000 subscribers
True.
now. Round of applause.
Thank you.
4-eye loser.
I like this question, and this is a question or a sentiment that you hear a lot, which is like, whenever I give tips about how to like grow your channel, people were like, "Oh, you don't understand. Like it was way easier when you got started than when I'm getting started now." So when I first got started on YouTube, like September, August 2010, I messaged a lot of big channels. Big Let's Playing channels, and was like, hey, do you have any tips for like how to grow my channel on YouTube? Like, I'm really looking to get popular and get bigger. Most people just ignored my questions, which is fair because now I ignore most people's questions as well. It's just a function of time. But the people who did get back to me were like, man, I'm so glad I got started back in like 2008, because if I'm getting started in 2010 now, it's going to be so much more difficult. Is that true? I don't think so, because not to make myself sound like a dick, but most of those quote-unquote big channels that I messaged for help, I have now like grossly surpassed in terms of like subscribership and viewership. And it's not to shit on those people, but it's more to say, like, if you have this attitude that it's super difficult, or like, I wish I'd started 2 years ago, like then it would be easy enough for me to get a partnership or something, then maybe that attitude is going to permeate into your work, and you are just going to like put less effort into it, or just like have a self-defeating attitude. Compared to 2 years ago, there are probably a lot more people doing gaming commentaries now, but there were a lot of people doing it back in 2010, and less people doing it, I guess, before that. But you can easily like make your mark on YouTube now. All you got to do is get lucky, which is something that's impossible to quantify, but was a big part of my success. Put out consistent content consistently, so like good content, and make as much of it as you possibly can and release it on a consistent schedule. Stay in contact with your audience and treat them with respect as long as they treat you with respect. And I don't know, keep an eye on like future trends and put passion into your content. Where was I going with this? I had something really good that I wanted to say. The thing that people focus on, like, oh man, I'm never going to get to like 50,000 subscribers now. That's going to be impossible. Like only like 0.05% of gaming channels are ever going to get there. Maybe that's true because there's so many people competing now. But there's very positive things about starting a channel right now in 2012. When I got started, there were like 3 YouTube Let's Players who had partnerships, and they had them through like YouTube and I think a couple through the Game Station and Machinima. And the partnership requirements back then, it seemed like you had to have like 20,000 subscribers. You had to be pretty big. Now, partnerships are like ubiquitous. You'll see channels with like 500 subscribers, 100,000 views that are getting paid for their videos. This is something that was like unprecedented a few years ago. If you want to get a partnership, like now is an okay time to start because you don't need insane numbers to meet the requirements for even big networks. I mean, there's a lot of shady, smaller networks that are coming up now as well. But, you know, if you look at the big networks like Machinima, Game Station is a little bit more stringent in their application process, like TGN, stuff like that. Those 3, I think, are all solid, reliable choices, and they don't have insane requirements for meeting partnership levels. Plus, so, yeah.
YouTube, by default, I mean, it's now... if you have an account, you can monetize any video. It has to go through a review process if you're not partnered in any way or whatever. You know, that's an option you select for each video. It's like, oh, do I want to monetize this or not? Because it depends. Maybe you're uploading a clip of like a Nickelback song or something, and they're gonna nail you for copyright. Or if it's just like a video of you doing a video log or something like that, that's not an issue, obviously, because it's your complete content unless you put a Nickelback song in the background of your vlog.
And YouTube will catch you.
They will. Like, they have very good automated algorithms and stuff like that. And you can always fight it if you're like, you know, sometimes they do screw up. You'd be like, no, this is actually my song, completely original.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll have somebody review it and whatever. So if you have a case, then fight it. But as well, they're just recently announced that they're going to soon have, like, a big thing is the thumbnails for videos, which is, you know, the custom thumbnails, so the things people see on the YouTube's homepage or sidebars and stuff like that, which makes a difference. I mean, allows for a little more customization because, as is, you only get three automatically generated clips taken right from the video.
Yeah, like for non-partners, it gives you a choice of like a frame from the start of the video, a frame from the middle, and a frame from the end.
Yeah, so that helps. It's pretty significant actually in terms of just search engine optimization and just, you know, getting you out there. It makes it easier. So now everybody will have the same advantage as of the partners and stuff like that.
Yeah,
obviously,
the custom thumbnails are supposed to be... I mean, whenever YouTube announces a feature, it might be 6 months off, but assuming this custom thumbnails thing actually does come to fruition, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. And I think they're working on a lot of ways to get more and more people making their own videos and being able... I mean, YouTube has a suite of pretty decent software of even video editing and things.
Yeah, true.
You can upload a video and sometimes they'll say like, hey, we detected that your video is a little darker, and then they direct you to the software and be like, oh, you can change it this or that. So, I don't know, it's a great time to get into YouTube because you've got a lot of options available to you now technologically that were just not available at all even 2 years ago. So, stop debating. If you really want to do it, just do it.
And people have this idea that, like, because there's more people doing gaming content on YouTube, it's harder to get noticed. That might be true, but if there's more people getting involved in the gaming niche, I always mess up that word, on YouTube, that means there's interest for it. Like, if you had asked me 2 years ago if I thought I would have, like, 4 million people watching my videos every month, I would be like, that's fucking crazy. Like, there's absolutely no way that kind of wide enough audience exists on YouTube. But, like, I'm probably accessing like 2% of the people who watch gaming videos on YouTube. Maybe 2% is probably a high number in that as well, like an overestimation. So there's a lot of people like watching this kind of content. There's definitely, I mean, you have to work hard. You might have to work for like, I mean, I've been doing videos like more than one a day for like 12 months now, like 12 months straight basically. But I mean, if you work your ass off, you get a little bit lucky, and you know you treat it as a job, you can absolutely get far ahead. Like, it's still possible to get noticed. I guarantee there are channels that started today or sometime this week, and within 12 months, those gaming channels will be bigger than mine, despite the fact that I'm working my ass off. Like, someone will always work hard, and someone will always make themselves a success, and it could be you.
Talking about me. No, and let me put it into perspective. I think last time I checked, Machinima had like 4.5 million subscribers.
Right, yeah.
So if you had 0.1% of what they have, that's still like 4,000 subscribers, which is a pretty, you could actually make a couple bucks a month.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
Not to live off of, but that's decent. 10%, that's 40,000 subscribers. You're pretty much getting close to the level of Ryan here. So that's like,
I think you've messed up your math.
Did I?
10%.
1%, sorry.
10,
1%.
Okay, 1%, yeah.
And then 10% would be 450,000 subscribers, which is just like, you can retire pretty much.
Well, it comes down to views. You get paid for views, not subscribers.
Well, that's true. Although, I mean, yeah, there's not always a direct correlation, but typically the more subscribers you have, hopefully you should be getting more views.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a way to kind of, some people just get subscribers just because like, oh, you're sub to him, sub to me, blah 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 blah. But generally, more subscribers means your content should reach more people. It'll come up on their homepage and stuff like that. So, but my point being that Machinima is largely gaming oriented. I know they do sports coverage and stuff as well, but 4.5 million people are subscribed to them. So even if you could get a piece of the pie there, because hey, I make some of the Kerbal videos. I watch my own stuff, but I also watch you play it because, don't think that just because, oh, that person is doing a Let's Play of that game or covering that game, that's it, People are only going to watch that person do it. It's like, no, people like to see different personalities because that's the whole point of it. Everybody has different personality, and they like to see how somebody tackles a situation, and then go watch somebody else. How did they do it, and so on and so forth. So I think it creates a nice dynamic because, again, people go back and forth between our videos for KSP now. They're like,
yeah.
Oh, Michael did it this way, or Ryan did it that way, and stuff like that. So it's kind of adds an element of excitement. It's like a little exciting circle. So,
and one thing I want to say, just to kind of cap off this conversation, if you're trying to get noticed on YouTube, this is the biggest mistake that I see like new channels doing that are not very popular. Pay very close attention to your metadata, as they call it. That's your title, your video description, and your tags. So you want your title to be clear and readable. You don't want it to be like punctuation all over the place, like Minecraft, and then like no space, Ep1, and then like a dash or like a greater than sign or something, and then the episode title. You want it to read like clear for a number of reasons. When people see this, they're going to want to click on it more because it looks clear, it's easier to read, and you're communicating your ideas more effectively. It makes you look more professional. I'm pretty sure that the YouTube algorithm, which is very similar to the Google algorithm, obviously, parses stuff like this more effectively and puts it higher in the search rankings, although I can't prove that. Video description, make it clear, that's all that really matters. I mean, there's some SEO, like search engine optimization, that some people do. I don't really prescribe to it. But just make it clear, good language as best as you can. Tag as extensively as you possibly can. When I first got started on YouTube, it's hard to get noticed, right? But for those Super Meat Boy videos that I posted, which was really what kind of kickstarted me on YouTube, I tagged the shit out of them with like every possible tag that I could think of related to Super Meat Boy. As a result, ranked really high in searches, got all sorts of new people coming in, and that got me probably like my first 5,000 to 15,000 subscribers. I guess Terraria got me maybe to 15, but like my first 5,000 subscribers, and getting from 0 to 5,000 is way harder than getting from like 45,000 to 50,000. That stuff just does itself.
Yeah, it is. I don't even have 2,000 yet.
Well, you might by the time people are watching this episode. You're getting close. You're like you were at 1862 last time I looked.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, they're trickling in. So
tell
all your friends.
for tags, here's what I suggest. Let's say I'm playing Spelunky. I'm giving away the keys to the kingdom here. I don't need it anymore. Take it. Use it for good. If you're already making good content, make sure to optimize your metadata. But for tags, you've got like 500 characters. Here's what I would do for something like Spelunky. And you can see all my tags if you click like more on the video description. Not for this video, because I don't tag these videos at all. These are just for fans. We don't need anybody else to discover these. I don't even know how I would tag it. But like, we're never going to rank number 1 for podcast or anything like that.
Hey, never say never.
Well, okay. So let's say I'm playing Spelunky. So first tag, Spelunky. Second tag would be like Spelunky gameplay. Third tag, and I'm not going to say number tag anymore, but Spelunky video, Spelunky reviews, Spelunky Xbox Live, Spelunky Xbox Live Arcade, Spelunky Xbox 360. And then maybe a tip you can do is just type like Spelunky or the name of the game in the YouTube search bar, and then wait for it to populate that like drop-down list. And that will show you the tags that people are searching for. So take any of those that actually apply to your video. Like if one of those is like Spelunky ending and you have the ending in your video, definitely pop that in because that shows that a lot of people are looking for it. So just like do that. So then like common misspellings, like maybe Spelunky with 2 L's or something like that, I'll pop those in if I still have room. Fill out that 500 character limit. Additionally, for any search terms that you want like grouped together, like Spelunky gameplay, put them within quotation marks because otherwise YouTube parses it like a phrase like Spelunky gameplay. It parses it as Spelunky and gameplay. So if you want to capture people who are searching for Spelunky gameplay, they won't find your video because you won't be listed like that. Instead, you want it in quotation marks, and then it will treat that as a phrase that shouldn't be broken up. So just pay attention. Don't be lazy with your tagging. I mean, it's tempting to just be like, okay, I've done the hard work. I've made the video. Post it up. Even I do that sometimes to this day, but it's a bad habit to get into. If you extensively tag and treat your metadata with respect, it takes like 5 minutes tops per video to do it. You're going to raise your chances of ranking high in searches. If you rank high once in a search for a game that's going to be big, that can be the difference between like a channel that has 12 subscribers and a channel that has like 1,000 subscribers a month later.
Yeah.
All you need to do, you only need one big break to get started. After that, like it does itself, I think, at least in my experience, that's what's basically happened. So treat your metadata with respect. Tag extensively.
Good points. Don't get lazy. I mean, you should want to do this because you want to do it and you want to do it well. You want to put out the best product that you are capable of doing. You should do that no matter what you're doing in life. You know, if you're gonna sweep the floor, you sweep that goddamn floor all the way. So if you're gonna go through the effort of playing a game, doing your commentary, and sharing your thoughts and all that stuff, try to put in a little production values. I mean, even free tools are more than enough in a lot of situations. Obviously, sometimes you have to put a few dollars into it, but just like Ryan said, think about even the small things. Metadata makes a huge difference.
I think that's a great segue. Do what you love and love what you do.
Yes.
And tag extensively.
That's deep, man. We're philosophers. We're changing people's lives here.
Well, as always, this has been an increasingly long episode of the Saving Progress podcast.
Sorry if we didn't answer your questions. Obviously, time is a factor, so ask them again next week if you really want to know the answer, and we'll try to get through them. No promises, but
let's go through our quick social media shill. So I'm Northernlion. I mean, you're watching this on my channel, so I'm not going to tell you to subscribe or anything. But if you want to see any of my random 140 character limited thoughts or, occasionally alcohol-addled ramblings, you can follow me at Twitter. My Twitter name is @NorthernlionLP, and that's really the only social media I use. I do have a Facebook page, but I don't really subscribe to it or do anything with it.
Again, if you haven't followed me on Twitter already, same username as my YouTube, and of course, if you're not following me on YouTube, it's youtube.com/Michael A.L. Fox, MICHAELALFOX. Sorry, confusing, I know. Anyways, I'm sure Ryan will put a link in the description, and of course, my Twitter is the same, twitter.com/Michael A.L. Fox, so you can follow me on there, and I post stuff sometimes, it's all good.
We also have Saving Progress related social media accounts. I believe it's twitter.com/Saving Progress.
Yep.
That's a nice Twitter URL.
Same with Facebook. Facebook.com/Saving Progress.
It's good branding.
Keep it simple, and like I mentioned before, we're gonna be the Saving Progress Arena episodes are gonna start going up on my channel now anyways, but we're always gonna put, no matter, maybe they might shift, some might go on Josh's channel or this or that depending on the game and who's recording and handling all that stuff, but they're always gonna go up on Saving Progress. So Saving Progress does have a YouTube that needs to be populated and fixed up and all nice and whatnot, but so please excuse that barren wasteland, but you want to get in on early, you can be like our exclusive YouTube Saving Progress Club. It's youtube.com/savingprogress.
I guess I will go subscribe to that channel because I haven't
I should
yet.
too. I actually haven't subscribed, and I created it like I don't know how long ago. So there's that, and of course you'll be privy to some sweet stuff as Saving Progress, moves on with time. Yeah, it's gonna blossom. So we got lots of stuff again, kind of in the works, and we're just really getting the hang of stuff. So
Feels like we're coming up to like a seriously productive period in our collaborative life cycle here.
Yeah, and there's some stuff we haven't even mentioned. Like you and I have some stuff kind of in the works, maybe pending technical issues or technical.
May or may not be related to the Binding of Isaac.
Oh, that game! Come on, who cares about Binding of Isaac? Yeah, so we've got an interesting little project for that that I think you guys are actually gonna like. It's kind of unique, I think, too.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it before.
It's not like a straight let's play or whatever. So more details on that later, I guess. We don't want to spoil too much, but
for the 10 of you who are still listening.
Yeah, this is a long one. So we've got some other stuff. Of course, Saving Progress Arena is about to start taking off. That's exciting. I'm excited for it, anyways. I think it's gonna be great, and lots of new games. I've been putting together a list of games I just want to look at, or even do full plays of. Shit's gonna start ramping up a lot, at least for me, anyways. So it's good. You guys are gonna. I have no time to watch all of our videos.
Yeah, it's a good time to be a fan, I think.
True. So
we've kind of gotten through the doldrums from the first half of this year. Now it's starting to pick up a little bit.
Yes, so it'll be a very, I think, exciting holiday season, anyways. Even if the Wii U is a total bust, there's gonna be
no way, man.
But yeah, I think we should probably. You want to call it quits?
Let's call it quits. As always, this has been the Saving Progress podcast. I have been your host, Northernlion, with Michael A.L. Fox.
Hey, everybody, I love you guys. AKA Foxman, by the way, is kind of like it's starting to take off.
Yeah, totally. And we'll see you guys next week. Same Saving Progress time, same Saving Progress channel.
Peace out.
Actually, it'll be on this channel.
Yeah, well, that channel. Whatever.